Hello, gamers. You're listening to the smooth sounds of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 113. Oh, yeah.
And welcome back to another edition of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Brent Felsing, and joining me tonight, Ben Boyce, Bender Holt. Once again, it's a Ben sandwich, and I couldn't be happier to be smushed between the both of yous.
And
Yay.
we couldn't be happier to be the bread.
See, it's becoming less and less awkward when I say that. I feel that means we're bonding. So that's good. I remember the first time we said that, I remember Boyce, I think, dropped off the call. Bender had this look of just this disturbed look on his face. So you guys are starting to accept your roles in Ben sandwich. That's awesome.
Yeah, we've just given up on all hope in terms of that. So now we just deal with it.
So how you guys doing tonight? Saturday night. Boyce, what's good with you, buddy?
Doing all right, man. It's been a long week, the end of a long week here, but happy to sit down, talk some games, and kind of just relax for a minute. Sounds like a plan to me.
Man, I tell you what, I'm with you. It's been one of those weeks. You were extra busy, though, so I know you're looking forward to a nice night to just chill and talk video games. But we'll get to what you've been playing here shortly. Bender, what's good with you, buddy?
Not much, man. Just about the same for me. Just, long work week and ready, glad it's the weekend, ready to just relax and talk about games.
Now, I got a question for you. You sent us a picture the other night of two large, beautiful-looking pizza pies. Did you eat all that shit?
Oh, there's still some in the fridge. That's why I get two of them. It's just me, because I can always have leftovers, and So
is it like breakfast, lunch, dinner, like two or three, or do you let that go the whole week?
It usually lasts me a day or two, maybe.
Wow,
I have
breakfast.
it for like lunch and dinner for the next.
Come on, you did one for breakfast. You did one for breakfast. Don't lie, right? You did one for breakfast.
I have before. I've done one for breakfast before. Yeah.
That's my boy. Oh, man,
Are those the Nutrisystem sanctioned pizza pies?
No. I'm every once in a while.
You didn't order those?
I just have a craving for pizza every once in a while.
Well, technically, he did order it. I mean, he went to the places, ordered the food. So I think that would fall under the Nutrisystem plan. That's how I always treat it. I go to Arby's and order €2 for $6. That's part of the Nutrisystem plan. I'm ordering my food. It's all good.
Yeah, I thought maybe they had a little endorsement sticker on the box, like endorsed by Nutrisystem or, something like that.
Something like that. But, Benner, have you played anything this week, man?
Yeah. I actually played Full Throttle Remastered, and I actually finished that today and got the Platinum Trophy.
Ooh.
So,
congratulations.
Thank you. It was my 11th Platinum. It wasn't too difficult of a Platinum to get, but it was, still pretty cool. I liked that game. It was good. I don't know if I like it quite as much as Day of the Tentacle Remastered, but it's still pretty good. There's a couple of parts that kind of frustrated me, but overall, I thought it was really good. Of course, they did a great job with the remaster. It looks really good. The animations are cool. I like the voice acting. Mark Hamill does a voice. What's his name? Maurice LaMarche, who used to voice the Brain on Pinky and the Brain. he has a voice in there. So, great voice cast. The story is really good. It's engaging. It's cool. Lots of action and cool stuff going on. And plus the main character, his name is Ben, so you can't go wrong there.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
I seen your initial tweet about getting the Platinum. You mentioned there was one section you didn't really care for. What section was that?
So this is this one part midway through the game, kind of closer towards the end of the game, I guess. But you go into this demolition derby, and you're controlling this car, and there's like 4 or 5 other cars in the arena with you, and you're supposed to. I guess I'm not going to spoil the what you're supposed to do, but there's just this one car that like keeps hitting you and doesn't let you get to your objective, and doesn't let you do what you're supposed to be doing. and there's something very specific that you have to do, and I had to look it up because I could not figure it out, and it was just so frustrating that this car just like keeps getting in your way. And it was just really annoying. And the controls aren't great on that part either, so it's just that kind of compounded the frustration. So I didn't like that part, but overall it was still a cool game. I liked it. It had some good humor and cool puzzles, so I don't have many complaints about it, but that part was just annoying.
Now my question is, when you looked up the answer, were you just like, oh man, really? Or was it something that was like really...
No, this was something I don't think I ever would have figured out.
Really?
This was something that was like, you have to do some very specific things to do what you're supposed to do in that section. I seriously don't think I would have figured it out.
Because I think I did that once for, gosh, I can't remember which one it was, but I looked it up, and I as soon as I looked it up, I was like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, seriously, why didn't I think of that? I've done that.
That's always disappointing. Yeah, I try not to look things up unless I really, really am getting frustrated, because I don't like that feeling where I was like, oh, I could have figured that out. But this one, I was like, I'm glad I looked it up. I'm really glad I looked it up, because I don't think I would have figured that out.
Right.
Wouldn't it be funny if the game that Brent was talking about was Super Mario Brothers, like World 1-1, and he was like, "Oh man, you have to jump on the Goomba's head." I didn't realize that.
That's how you.
Yeah, you hit the B button and you jump on his head. That's how it works.
Wow,
I can't believe that.
I'm off 1 week and I'm already on the ground with my teeth on the curb. Awesome. Boys, what have you been playing this week, man? Let's talk about that Tuesday night indie spotlight, Wonder Boy.
Yeah, Wonder Boy's really cool, man. I had a great time playing it. I mentioned this on the stream and in a little write-up I did for it, but it's an insanely beautiful game. It looked that way in the trailer. It looks even better when you're playing it on the screen and watching it all unfold in front of you. It's just the quality of the hand-drawn animation and the way it just the game performs is just really spectacular. I mean, it's probably the best looking hand-drawn game I've personally ever seen or played. It's just really clean lines. There's traces of the pencil strokes in the background and in some of the characters, and I just think it's just an insanely beautiful looking title.
Right. It's
cool too how you can switch between the retro mode and the current mode to see how much they've done to that game. That game in particular, its original style is not a timeless style. It's not a particularly good looking game. Like, it's not a game we go back to and we're like, man, that's a sweet style we got to resurrect. It's nothing like that. Like, it's not a good looking game. So it's kind of cool to go from that retro aesthetic and see what they were working with and see what they came up with for this new version. And yeah, so just and it's not just the look of it too. Like, the performance of it is perfect. There's no issues. There's no hitching. It runs perfectly smoothly. So it's an awesome, like, technical game in terms of its performance. And then the actual gameplay is fun as well. We talked about it on the show, but that game is often referenced as being like a precursor to the Metroidvania genre, and we see a lot of those elements in the early going of this game. So progression is locked behind, the different animals that you gain access to. You actually start the game off similar to how you do Symphony of the Night. You're kind of at the end of the game with a super-powered character that has all your abilities. Then at the end of the first boss, you're kind of taken back to square one, and you kind of start your adventure with your first creature, which is a fire-breathing dragon that you're thrust into. And then you just kind of move through the levels that he can move through, and then you gain access to another character, which is the swashbuckling mouse. He can like run on walls, and he's real tiny, and it's a really cool game so far. I really dig it, man. The soundtrack is excellent. So just the all-around presentation of this game, spectacular, and I can't wait to play some more of it. I've got some new characters unlocked, and I can go to some different places in the world now, and I think it's really interesting how this game from 1989, houses so many of the things that particular genre calls back to now in modern times. So it was a game ahead of its time for sure, back on the Master System, and it's a fantastic remaster on modern consoles. So I recommend it if you're a fan of side scrollers, if you're a fan of Metroidvania games, if you're a fan of kind of action platformers. I think this is one worth checking out. It's been a blast so far.
Awesome, good stuff. Did you play anything else this week?
Not too much. I did play through a couple games in the Mega Man Legacy Collection, Mega Man 3 and 4 in particular, just to kind of refamiliarize myself. I was playing through some of the challenges, going through some of the games, getting ready for the Play and Listen podcast this week, which I was fortunate enough to be on. We were talking about Mega Man, so I wanted to go back and revisit some of those games. So dabbled with a few of those and kind of relived those, just awesome games. I love those games, so that was fun to go back and play with those. But other than that, not too much.
Yeah, and you were up on JD's podcast this week, and that's actually up right now over on his SoundCloud channel, Play and Listen. The Mega Man episode where a lot of good Mega Man music. I haven't listened to it yet. It just went live before we started recording here, so I'm going to have to listen to that on Monday at work. So check that out. I played some Shyness, The Lightning Kingdom. It's a game I had my eye on for a little while. It's just a beautiful-looking game. From what we saw in the trailers, it had a cool art style. It's an open-world like RPG, but the combat is almost like an arena brawler. Once you come up to the enemies and engage in combat, you're kind of like surrounded in this arena, and you battle each enemy one-on-one. So you beat one enemy, and then another one pops in, and like however many enemies are around, that's how many you'll have to battle. And the game does some things right. There are some cool elements to the game. Unfortunately, the biggest issue I'm having so far is the combat. It's so strange because when you see an enemy or enemies in front of you before you engage in combat, you can hit R3 to lock on them. You lock onto them, and not only does it lock onto them, it gives you a reading of what their weaknesses are in terms of like elemental damage. But as soon as you engage in combat and this arena forms around you, and you hit R3 to lock, all it does is center the camera. It doesn't lock onto the enemy. And that might not seem like a big deal for some, but the way these enemies come at you, you're constantly trying to dodge. And when the camera spins around and you don't have a really good angle on the enemy, I kind of wish the lock-on system that's available in the open world portion of it carried over into combat. I just don't understand why it doesn't do that. And you can kind of get in a bad position, especially if you're around the walls of the arena. The camera will kind of get turned around, and you get into kind of some bad spots. So while the combat has some cool elements to it, including, like I mentioned, the elemental damage, there's a dodging system. You can parry. Parrying and dodging is very, very difficult. These enemies don't give you too much of a warning of when they're going to attack. And as soon as they start, if the minute you get hit, it's really hard to kind of dodge or even parry the attack. You kind of have to like sit through the combo of hits you're about to take. So it's just a very difficult game to grasp in terms of the combat. Going around the world's beautiful. It's a beautiful looking game. Some of the characters are a little quirky, but in the end, gameplay reigns king, and it's just very difficult to kind of get my head around the combat early on.
So what you would most closely associate the combat with, like you said, like a Final Fight, like brawler, or is it more like a fighting game, or like Dark Souls? Like what kind of combat are we talking here?
You just square. You can punch and kick. You go up to a character and you try to like get combos. You get 5, 6, 7 hit combos and knocks them down. But you can also like defend. So it's not like a 2D fighter. I mean, it's just like an open arena. It's just a different type of fighting mechanic, but the fact that it's almost like an MMO, like Final Fantasy XIV's combat. You can move around the arena, battle, and whatnot, but you just can't lock onto the character, and I just don't understand why you can't lock on if you can lock on before combat. It's so strange. I mean, you'll stay focused on the enemy when you're not in combat. If you move around, the camera will automatically stay on the enemy. But when you go into this arena, all the right stick does is center the camera. It doesn't lock on. So, I mean, you center it, but then if they move around on you, you're constantly battling the camera as well.
Is it something where there's too many enemies at once, you think, and that's why they didn't do a lock-on? Or
no, that's the thing. There's only one enemy at a time.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you fight one enemy and you kill him. Like, say if you walk up to 3 enemies and then you start combat, you'll fight one and then another after they're defeated. It's not a bunch of guys at once. It's just the way the game plays, it's kind of fast-paced combat. It would just be nice to be able to lock onto them because the camera is so fidgety at times.
Yeah, that's strange if you're only fighting one at a time. That makes no sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like why you wouldn't have that if you're only fighting one dude? Yeah. So I got nothing on that one.
So I'm still gonna make my way through that one. It's just that's been the hardest part to get my head around. But played that. I've been playing Cosmic Star Heroine. That game is just really, really good. I think I'm up to Chapter 5 now, about 4.5 hours into the game.
Sweet.
The combat in that game is so deep. I mean, it really is. It's a fantastic game in terms of the combat, the presentation. The writing is actually pretty funny. There's some witty comments that are made, especially if you talk to some of the people just standing around some of these areas that you explore. At Chapter 4, you kind of like, a big plot twist happens, and you're out in this open, like this city, and you're moving around. It's kind of like this slummy type of town, and some of the people you talk to are just hilarious, the things that they say. So some cool writing. The combat's really good. It's a beautiful looking game. Can't wait for that thing to show up on the Vita. That's going to be awesome. So Cosmic Star Heroine, definitely worth a look there. But yeah, that's pretty much been the gist of what I've been playing this week. So lots of good stuff. I know Frankie has a video up right now. He played Flint Hook earlier this week. That game looks really fun. So go over to our YouTube channel, Short Pause Gaming. Check out the Short Pause Let's Play Flint Hook on Xbox One. Frankie had a really good time with it. Speaks very highly of it. The soundtrack's rocking. So that's a cool looking game. Boys, did you see it?
Yeah, I watched him play it. We talked about it before. I love tribute games. Mm-hmm. They make some cool games. Mercenary Kings was an early favorite of ours early on in the PS4 generation. And yeah, Flint Hook looks sweet, man. Kind of zipping around and and some challenging platforming elements. It definitely looks like something up my alley.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool game. So go over and check out that video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you picked up Flint Hook, we want to hear your thoughts on it. Boys, I don't know what's going on with these new release schedules, but we have a ton of games coming out this week. A ton. Let's get through this list, buddy.
Yeah, a lot of stuff on the docket. And, the moral of the story, after we talk about all these games in the beginning and these games that we're going to talk about, we've been talking about this the entire year, but there's a wealth of excellent video games that have been bestowed upon us in the first 4 months of this year. And we're doing our best to put up Let's Plays and gameplay stuff and let people see what goes into all these games. But there's so many games out there right now, man, that we can't get to them all. And it's an incredible time to be a gamer. It's an incredible time to be a fan of video games, but it's also a very overwhelming time. Mm-hmm. Because as much of a fan of gaming as we are, we like to partake in a variety and a multitude of genres, and it's very difficult week to week to partake in all the games that we want to partake in. So it gets a little overwhelming, especially in a week like last week where there's like 10 indie games that all look rad, that are all something that I want to fire up at some point. And you only get to 1 or 2 of them, and then the other 8 kind of fester in the backlog, or they sit there on the store until you get a sale and can maybe buy them in the future. But man, it's just it's nuts right now, dude. It really is. 2017 is just balls to the wall, just games. It's really remarkable, man. So as far as what's coming out this week, we'll start with the big dog this week, and that's Outlast 2. It's a game, Brent, that we've been looking forward to for a long time. Bender won't shut up about the damn thing. I'm happy. I'm happy that the game's finally coming out. So he can shut the hell up about his excitement about Outlast 2. So don't worry, Bender, we got you, man. But yeah, no, Brent, we've talked about this several times on the show, man. Over the last 3 years, I've said it before. And the caveat to this is I still haven't played through Resident Evil 7, but Outlast to me is still the gold standard in horror games in terms of what I've played. Now, I do need to play through Resident Evil 7, and obviously I haven't played every horror game out there. But the things that Outlast did, the sense of terror, the just very novel mechanic of the video camcorder as your source of light, and the fact that you didn't have any weapons, there's nothing you could do to defend yourself other than just hide and run. Like, that game instilled fear and a sense of I don't know what the word is, but you're just helpless, basically. Mm-hmm. Just a sense of helplessness that it instilled in you, better than any other game out there. And there's a section in that game, in that first game, where you lose your camcorder, and you're just you're trying to find that thing. And it's just, that's like one of the most terrifying things I've ever played. And, just what they were able to accomplish in that game is pretty crazy. The story was, I mean, the story in the first Outlast was, I mean, let's just call it a spade a spade. It was batshit crazy. By the time you got to the end of that game, the final act was just, I don't know where they came up with this, but the final act of that game just totally went off the rails. But that doesn't change the fact that as a horror experience, it was incredible. And still haven't played a game like it to this day. I'm looking forward to Outlast 2, to getting in there and experiencing this world once more. I don't know what connection this has, if any, to the first game. But I gotta imagine, Brent, with this one, like, they're gonna take things to the next level here.
Mm-hmm.
The environments look to be larger. They look to be more open-ended. We're gonna be outdoors a lot more. We're not gonna be confined into the insane asylum like we were in the first game. So that's kind of scary in and of itself. I hated being outside in the first Outlast. I was just like, man, this is creepy out here. Like, and so I can only imagine in this game when you're running through the cornfields and you're searching these kind of disturbing areas, what that's going to be like. We've seen some disturbing trailers for this game. The launch trailer is out now for Outlast 2. It looks suitably creepy. Mm-hmm. So, Brent, talk to me about this game, dude. I know you're excited for Outlast.
Man, a few developers can nail atmosphere like Red Barrels. I mean, Outlast was just, like you said, the story was insane, but for me, it was just the atmosphere, the tension, the unparalleled tension that game created. I mean, like you said, you're defenseless. You have nothing to fight with. All you're doing is trying to survive. And I think that was awesome. I mean, in games like Resident Evil, you have a gun, or in some of these other survival horror games, you have a way to defend yourself. You cannot defend yourself in these games. You have to run, you have to hide, you have to avoid enemies. It's just, it's taut, and it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's terrifying. And I'm looking forward to more of the same from Outlast, with Outlast 2. Like you said, they're trading the claustrophobic setting of the first one for a more open world, not open world, but open setting. Like you said, we're outside, we're at night, it's in cornfields, it's in these areas with a lot of fog in the air. You can't really see what's going on. You've got this insane cult that is hunting you down. It's just, they take all the right elements from these horror tropes, and they put them into this game, and it's a suitably a terrifying experience. And Outlast 2 is just a game I want to turn the lights off, turn the sound up, put my headphones on, and scare myself shitless for 2 hours. So I'm really looking forward to Outlast 2 this week. I'll be streaming it Monday night, probably around 10 o'clock, 10:30. We'll do a Let's Play of like the first hour and a half of Outlast 2. I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think, man, moving to, and obviously I don't know how the whole game's going to play out. This could just be one element of it, but a lot of the stuff that we've seen are in these rural settings, in these rural areas, and these more open-ended environments. How do you think that's going to affect the Outlast 2 gameplay? Like that, the first Outlast was very tight, was close quarters. You're going down narrow hallways, trying to escape these things that are after you. How do you think this move to these more open environments are going to affect the game positively or negatively?
I think it could be. I mean, it could go both ways. I'm trying to look at it from a positive perspective, though. I mean, if you look at Outlast, you're in these tight corridors, like you said, these hallways. There's only so many areas enemies can come at you. There's only so many spots that you can hide in. With this one, if it's in this more open setup, I think that creates more fear, because you don't know what there's more directions that people can come at you from, or enemies or beasts or whatever the hell is out in this game. But I think that creates plus it's more spacious in terms of the audio, so I think you can do more there to build some more tension, build atmosphere. So I think there's a lot you could do with this, more to explore. Like I said, more hiding spots for enemies. You won't know where the hell people are coming from. So I mean, it just depends on how thick the tension is in this game, how they're able to use audio to really get you kind of creeped out, to kind of, have you on edge. I think there's a lot of stuff you could do here. But I mean, on the downside, if you go more of an open setting, it might claustrophobia or those claustrophobic settings from the first one creates tension on its own. Like you said, there's not a whole lot of a lot of room to maneuver, to get away from enemies, stuff like that. So there might be a trade-off there, but I think it's all going to be come down to presentation and the audio setup.
Yeah. I'm with you, actually. There's something about, when you're going through the first Outlast and you're in the insane asylum, you walk into a room and you can kind of take temperature of the room and what's going on. Like, you kind of know what's going on in that room, and then you go out into the hallway and you move into the next room, and then you can get a view of what's going on in the next room. So as you move from place to place, you kind of have an idea of what's going on in the setting that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go into these outdoor environments and you're outside and you're in this big cornfield or on this big farm and you don't know your left from your right or what's coming from where, that can be even more terrifying because you're not used to that and you don't know where the next guy's going to come from, where the next scare is going to come from. You kind of, as you play through the first Outlast, you start to understand how the game's going to attack you, and, you kind of have an idea as you move from room to room, maybe where some guy could be or what's going to happen. But yeah, when you're in these more open settings, that all kind of goes out the window.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't really know, what's coming at you from at any given time. So yeah, that could definitely be terrifying, man. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Brent, but there's a few things in the trailer for both Outlast. They actually released 2 trailers. There's one for Outlast 2, and there's one for Outlast Trinity, which also includes footage of Outlast 2 in its trailer. And from what I could tell, it looks like there's some different footage in there for the game. Now, Outlast 2, does it seem like it's going to lean a little more towards the supernatural or have even more supernatural elements than the first game? From what you've seen, are you getting that vibe from it?
From the trailer and also from the beta that we played, yes, I do feel like this is going to have more of a supernatural focus to it. So, which I'm fine with because supernatural stuff scares me just as much as crazy cult people.
Yeah, I mean there is an element of the supernatural in the first Outlast, of course, but
might be more pronounced this time around.
Yeah, it seems like it might be even more prevalent in this one. So, yeah, I'll be curious to see how that all works out. And this type of symbolism and imagery, this is the stuff that was in the first Outlast, the religious fanaticism and some of the other things that we've seen in Outlast 2 so far. It seems to be carrying over some of the themes they explored in Outlast. So yeah, man, I'm really curious to see how this one plays out. I imagine the review embargo is going to be probably Monday or so we'll find out what the game's all about at that point. But yeah, really excited to kind of get into this one and see what it's all about because the first Outlast was so well done. So that'll be out this Tuesday, PC, PS4, Xbox One. All right, let's move on with the list here now, fellas. What Remains of Edith Finch is the last game in the Play Collective spring promotion. So that'll be out this Tuesday. This is Giant Sparrow's second game. They have the Unfinished Swan fame. So this has been in development for a very long time. I mean, how long has it been since the Unfinished Swan? It has to have been at least 4 years, right? 4 or 5 years, something like that.
I think so.
So it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while now. So Giant Sparrow, either they've been sitting on this idea for a while, or I don't know what their production schedule was like after they finished the Unfinished Swan. But regardless, this game's been in development for a while. It's been something they've been tinkering with for a while. I mean, we've heard about this game for years now. So it's finally seen the light of day, and it's still kind of a game that's steeped in mystery. Now, Bender, you actually got to play this a little bit, didn't you, when you went to PAX?
I did. I got to play a demo of it. It seemed cool from what I played. It's did seem very mysterious, and seems like it's some very environmental storytelling and learning the background of some of these family members for the Finch family. But it seemed very interesting, very kind of dark and kind of surreal, but very unique type of storytelling. But I'm looking forward to playing this one to really get into the story and learn the whole scope of it. But I liked what I played.
Yeah, see, I love the concept of it, the idea of kind of learning about this family and what happened to him, and it seems like each member of the family is going to have a different story that kind of plays out differently. Is that the vibe that you're getting from this as well?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like they all died in weird ways that you're going to kind of learn about too.
Yeah, so they all died in weird ways. There's, like you said, there's a surreal element to all of their stories. I'm going to be really interested to see how the narrative ties everything together and what the overarching story in this game is all about. But I like that it's still a mysterious game, that we don't know a lot about it, because that seems like that's going to be one of the hooks of the title. So yeah, we don't know much more about it. Is the whole game in first person?
As far as I could tell, yeah. Everything I played was in first person.
Yeah. So I don't know, how would you describe this then? Is it kind of like a Gone Home meets, I don't know, the Twilight Zone or something like that? Is it kind of along those lines, or what do you think? How would you describe this game?
It's there's definitely some Gone Home type of elements in it where you're exploring and looking at things and kind of learning of different things. What it does differently from Gone Home is it has these kind of vignettes that it kind of takes you on a journey where you're kind of experiencing something that happened from the perspective of one of the Finch family members from the past. So you discover like a diary or something like that, and you're reading this story, but instead of just reading it, you get to kind of experience it and see it from their point of view. So that's kind of the unique spin on it.
Yeah, and I like that idea. That sounds like that could be translated into a really, really intriguing video game. Mm-hmm. What did you get a sense of the story of this game yet, Bender, from what you played of it? Was any of that apparent at all? Like the overall story?
I mean, you're just this girl, I think her name is Emily Finch, and you're going back to this house, and I don't know if you inherited it or what, but you just go in there and just explore, and each room has, it belonged to a different family member, and you just kind of explore each room and kind of look through some of their personal belongings and look at pictures and read journals and some of the rooms are like sealed off because one of the family members was like crazy and she sealed them off after the family member died. So like I don't know if you'll have to figure out a way to get into those rooms or what, but I think you're just kind of exploring this house and just kind of trying to learn the story of what happened to these different members of your family.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, very, very interesting sounding title here. Brent, what do you think about what you've seen of Edith Finch? Is this something you're interested in? Were you a fan of The Unfinished Swan at all?
I actually never finished The Unfinished Swan.
That's ironic.
Oh, I see what you did there. No, I mean I've got a little bit of interest in this game, but it's not something I was gonna. I didn't even pick it up when it was on sale, so. Because you get that little discount, but no, I think it sounds interesting. It's a cool concept. I'll be curious to see what Bender has to say about it, but I won't be picking it up this week.
Okay, you still have a chance to get the discount. You have until Tuesday if you decide to pull the trigger. So, anybody that's listening to this podcast prior to Tuesday, you can also grab Edith Finch if you're a PS Plus member for 20% off before this coming Tuesday when it arrives. So I'll be very, very interested to see how that one plays out. Another title that I'm stoked about, Shovel Knight: Spectre of Torment, making its way over to the PlayStation ecosystem this week. It's made its way over to the Nintendo platforms, and I think it's on PC and maybe a couple other places now. But this is the week Spectre of Torment makes its way over to PS4, PS3, and Vita. The really awesome thing about Spectre of Torment is it essentially looks like a whole entire new campaign, whereas the Plague Knight DLC kind of took the levels from the original Shovel Knight and threw Plague Knight in there and let you play through with him and try to figure out how he handled and his mechanics and how you would use that character to get through those levels. Spectre of Torment is a prequel to the game, to Shovel Knight, and it's got kind of its own levels, even though they share similar themes and characters and whatnot from the main game, but he's got his own set of levels, it appears, and I'm really, really excited to play this game because Spectre Knight looks much more in line with Shovel Knight. Plague Knight was extremely difficult to control and was a much different character when compared to Shovel Knight, but Spectre Knight appears to fit more in line with what we expect from a Shovel Knight game. Bender, have you played this at all on the Switch yet, or did you pick it up on any of the other systems that you own? I think it's on the Wii U now. I think it's coming to 3DS this week as well. Where you at on Spectre of Torment?
I haven't picked it up yet, but this was another demo I got to play at PAX, and I really enjoyed it. From what I played like one level of it. Mm-hmm. I could say that Spectre Knight is probably even easier to control than Shovel Knight. I just like the way.
Oh, really?
I just like the way he controls his, the whole motion of him, like his movement and everything, the way he gets around. He's got like this move where he can like kind of dash diagonally through enemies to like get to higher levels. So there'll be places where there'll be several enemies like floating in the air in a row, and you just dash through each of them to get go really fast. He can also climb certain walls. So it's really cool the way he controls, and he's got this scythe that he attacks with and everything. So it was really cool from the demo that I played. So I'm definitely gonna have to pick this up at some point. I still haven't yet, but I'm definitely gonna be playing it before too long.
Yeah, and once again, if you own the original Shovel Knight, like, this is a free update for you. So that's the really cool thing about this. If you already have Shovel Knight, that gets upgraded to the Treasure Trove Edition, and you have access to Spectre of Torment, to the future King Knight DLC, to the Plague Knight DLC. It's all included in that main package, which is an awesome deal. Because I think when we originally bought that game, it was $10 or $15. So to get all this and to get all these subsequent DLC packages as part of that is an insane deal. Because Shovel Knight is just an amazing game, a fantastic game, one of the best 8-bit throwback retro games in existence today. So I can't wait to play Spectre of Torment. If all goes according to plan, this will be the title we fire up on the Indie Spotlight this Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel. You can look us up at Short Pause Gaming. So we'll fire up Spectre of Torment, have a good time with it. Brent, you excited about this one coming over to PlayStation?
Yeah, it sounds really cool, and I'm glad it's a free update. It's something I don't know if I'd be able to jump into right away, but the fact that I already have it when I fire it up next time works out nice.
It'll be on the Vita as well, of course.
That's where I plan to play it.
PS4, PS3 Vita. Shovel Knight is awesome on the Vita, so I imagine that Spectre of Torment is going to be just as awesome. Really can't wait for this one, man. I love this game. All right, moving on now. Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. Making its way over to the PlayStation 4 this week. Brent, what's the read on this game, dude? Does this have any redeeming value, any redeeming qualities, you think, or is this one just one we should ignore?
The second one was I'm not gonna mince any words. It was terrible. The second one was just it was a waste of money. I was really, really disappointed in it because when you have a game like Sniper Elite out there, you're always like, if somebody's like, hey, we're the competition, you're like, oh, I want to check this out. This might be pretty good because Sniper Elite set a pretty good bar for sniping games. And Ghost Warrior 2 was just a terrible game. I mean, everything from the enemy AI to the level design, the 2 maps for multiplayer when it launched, it was an abysmal product. Now this one I had a chance to play through the beta on the PC, and there were technical issues were the biggest concern. This played a lot more like a Far Cry in the beta, which is a far departure from what Ghost Warrior 2 was. It was more of a narrative, more of a linear narrative experience. You kind of follow your path to the objective. This one's more open world. You can explore the world. There's different things. There's actually kind of like some climbing elements that you would see like in Uncharted, but from like a first person perspective. Like there's these towers that you can explore. I'm sorry, it's more like climbing in Far Cry. It's just which is something you didn't see in the first Sniper Ghost Warrior. So some different elements to it. But like I said, this played a lot more and was set up a lot more like a Far Cry game. So I mean, there is some potential there, but if the technical issues that plague the PC version come over to consoles in any way, it's going to be a rough launch. But here's hoping that delay they gave this game allowed them to kind of iron out those issues. And like I said, there's some potential there. I'll be curious to see how this turns out.
That's kind of my worry with this game too. Is they're taking this game that was a budget title for all intents and purposes, and they're now trying to move it into the AAA sector. They're really trying to go all in and create this big, huge, sprawling sniper epic. And I don't know is this the same developer? I don't know.
CI Games.
Yeah, so are they biting off more than they could chew here? That's a real possibility, right? These guys are just
that's possible. And that's what Sniper Elite did so well. They went from 2, which was a budget title, and then 3 was a budget title, but it didn't feel like one. I mean, we played it, we were like, okay, there were some parts of it that were like, okay, it's kind of budgety, but overall that was a massive experience. So there was a lot to do there at a budget price, and then they kind of graduated to full-on AAA game with Sniper Elite 4. With this one, they're going from just a terrible game, a terrible budget game, and going for a full-on AAA experience. And like I said, the beta was rough, technically speaking, but like I said, the mission structure, the different types of missions you can go, the enemy AI was kind of ruthless. It would come at you pretty hard. So I mean, there were some strong elements mixed in there, but like I said, I'll be curious to see how this thing plays out from start to finish, and once people get their hands on it.
Yeah. I really like the Sniper Elite series now, and that's got me interested in this title. I just wonder about it. They're doing some things though to try and get this in front of people. The whole buy it or pre-order it and you get the season pass included with it. Like that's a great move to try and get people to jump on board. I'm not confident that this final product is going to be worth the price of admission, but I hope I'm wrong on that. We'll see how it all plays out this Tuesday. All right, moving on here. Siberia 3, the long gestating Siberia 3. It's coming over to retail and digital this week for the PS4 finally. Now, I don't have any experience with the Siberia series, but people swear by this adventure series. The first 2 games are well loved, and people have been waiting for this third one for a while. So if you're an adventure fan, maybe this is something that you get out there and check out. Puyo Puyo Tetris is a retail-only release for the PS4, which is very interesting here. And the other interesting thing is this game's also coming out on the Switch. It's digital and retail on the Switch, but the Switch version of this game is $10 more at retail than the PS4 version, which is strange. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this game. I don't know why they can't have a digital version of this on the PS Store. There's something with the rights issues. Some people think it has something to do with Ubisoft's holding the Tetris license or something like that. So I don't know, or have either of you guys heard one way or another why this can't be digital on PlayStation?
No.
Don't know.
Yeah. So it's strange, but if you want this game, look out for it at retail. It's going to be $29.99, so not a bad price for that. Looks like a great game. I know there's a demo out on the Switch right now. Haven't been able to try it, but looks like it's a swell time. The Walking Dead Season 3, A New Frontier, the 4th episode, Thicker Than Water, making its way out now. So if you'll remember, the 3rd episode came out last month, 4th episode this month. They're actually targeting May for the 5th episode, so they appear to be back on track in terms of their schedule now. There's a couple month delay in between the kind of first set of episodes and episode 3, but at least they gave us 2 episodes initially, so I don't know if that factored into the extended length of time between the first and second and third episode, but the 4th episode be out this week. 5th episode hopefully next month. We'll finish out this season of The Walking Dead. Another really interesting title, Death State. We mentioned this on the podcast when it was announced a few weeks ago. And this is a bullet hell shooter through and through. It looks kind of like Enter the Gungeon. It has that kind of feel to it. Mechanically, it's nothing like that in terms of getting the different guns and going through the game. But the actual aesthetic and gameplay of it looks like something out of that game. Just an immense amount of enemies and bullets on the screen at any given time, and you're in classic shoot 'em up fashion trying to dodge them all and fire back with. You do some weird stuff in this game, like harvest people's organs and use them as weapons, and there's some really weird stuff going on in there. In fact, the developers said as much. They're like, we're trying to be as weird as possible in this game while also making like a bullet hell shooter. So this one, this is another prime candidate for the indie spotlight. It's one of those games that could probably have me pulling out my hair. So it's one that would be a fun time to put on there and stream, and we'll see how it all plays out. But Spectre of Torment looming for the spotlight as well. So that's Death State. That'll be out Tuesday. Another very interesting title, Little Nightmares. It's a Friday release, April 20th. This is Tarsier Studios, the talented folks who developed Little Big Planet for the Vita. This is their game. It's coming out this Friday, digital and retail. This is a really awesome looking title. Love the aesthetic. Love the whole look of this game. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what kind of a game this is. Brent, would you consider it like a puzzle platformer? Is that what we're looking at here with this?
Yeah, it sounds like it's a platformer with puzzle elements, stealth elements, and obviously you got some horror elements in there. So this is a game I'm really interested in. It's reviewed very well since the embargo lifted. I haven't watched too many trailers of it, so I can't tell you specifically, but based on from what I've read early on, it's a puzzle platformer with some stealth and horror elements in there. So very intrigued with it though.
Yeah, and an early embargo for a title like this. This is a smaller title in development by an independent studio. They obviously were very confident in the product. They had an embargo that was basically a week before the game came out.
Right.
So, and like you said, it's reviewed very well. Just a fantastic looking game. Really love the style of this game. It's almost got a Tim Burton feel to it in terms of its animation and style. Bender, you checked this one out at all? Little Nightmare seems like something that you might get into as well.
Yeah, looks like very interesting, bizarre, kind of unnerving type of art style to it. It just gives you a weird feeling just looking at it. But looks very interesting. I think that could be a cool game.
I like how it's got some comparisons to Limbo.
Oh,
And,
really?
yeah.
Okay.
Some of these reviews that I kind of glanced over, they mentioned a strong inspiration or a strong comparison to like
in
Limbo,
terms of kind of like the
atmosphere and kind of like the gameplay a little bit.
kind of like the trial and error gameplay,
Yep.
like that kind of thing. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so this is a really cool looking title. I think it's what $30-$35, something like that, whatever it goes for. But that'll be out this Friday.
No,
Definitely
it's
check that one out.
$19.99.
Okay.
Yep.
I must be thinking about the retail one then. I think the retail one's 30 or 35, or there's some special edition or something for that. So $20 digitally, a little more if you get it at retail. But keep your eye on that one. Like you said, reviewing well, it looks like that might be a good one. Valhalla Hills Definitive Edition coming to digital and retail this week. This is a kind of city building type of game set in a Viking setting. The Deer God, the game that's been out on other platforms. I think it's on Xbox and Wii U. Now coming over to PS4. This is a cross-buy title with the Vita. It's a Metroidvania game with a really, really beautiful pixel art style and some interesting concepts exploring, like karma and animals and gods and that kind of stuff. So some heady stuff that's in there. I've always had a cursory interest in this title. Might have to check this one out on the Vita at some point. Dragon Quest Heroes 2 is coming over to digital and retail this week. This is obviously the kind of Dynasty Warriors inspired take on the Dragon Quest franchise. The first game was extremely popular, did really well. So the second one making its way out now. I'd imagine this one will be more of the same and appeal to the same crowd. I mean, how many of these games can they make? Like, I say this every time one of these comes out, but there's seriously like 52 versions of Dynasty Warriors from all across the gaming spectrum, and they keep coming out, and people keep buying them, and they keep doing well, and they just keep making them. So, hey, more power to you. I think it's the same developer, too. Isn't it always Omega Force from Tecmo Koei? I think they're the ones who develop all of these games. It's insane. But yeah, Dragon Quest Heroes 2 will be out this week. Arcade Archives Neo Geo Galaxy Fight Universal Warriors is a Thursday release. A very, very obscure Neo Geo fighting game, which I hadn't even heard of until I saw this. That'll be out. Crossout, the latest MMO, free-to-play MMO, coming over to the PS4. Don't know anything about this one. It looks to be set in like a Mad Max type of universe, and there's heavy emphasis on building your car. And I don't know anything outside of that. I'm not sure if it's just car-based gameplay, if there's any on-foot stuff. But it's an intriguing-looking title. I might have to fire that one up at some point as a free-to-play title. Eventide Slavic Fable is the latest from Artifacts Mundi, the adventure, artifact-finding company who just cranks out games like every other week. River City Melee Battle Royale Special is a Friday release. This takes like the River City Ransom type characters and puts them into a 4-player brawler, local multiplayer type of a setting. Zombier is a Wednesday release. This is a terrible looking title. Games of Glory Open Beta. This is an arena team-based arena shooter. Another. I think this is another free-to-play game as well. So lots of these coming out this week. There's a lot of them on the PlayStation 4 now. It's crazy, man. It's tough to stand out in that pack. There's so many of them now. Ghost Recon Wildlands, we talked about this last week, the Narco Road DLC. It's going to be out for non-season pass holders this week. There's been some problems reported with the DLC, so kind of buyer beware on that. I don't know if they've fixed the issues with that, but people's progress are beginning to reset and some other issues. So maybe tread carefully with that one until they've fixed it all. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13, the famous strategy expansion pack, is making its way over. Also wanted to note that the Marvel Heroes Omega closed beta snuck up on us. It just released yesterday. So it's live now for the PlayStation 4. The Xbox One version will be at a later date. But you can hop in there now and kind of, buy one of the character packs that they have in there, and you can jump into the closed beta early and get in and kind of I guess you would call this the early access phase, even though I'm not even sure that's accurate. The game's been out for a long time, so I don't know how much of an early access thing this is, but I definitely want to get in there and check that out.
There's 3 Founders packs, right? There's Spider-Man, Guardians, and Deadpool. Are those the Founder packs?
There's those. There's an Avengers pack as well.
Oh, is there an Avengers one?
Yeah,
okay.
Which gives you access to all the Avengers. That one's expensive. There's actually a PlayStation Plus exclusive pack that I've had my eye on too. It's the War Machine pack. So I'm actually considering picking that one up. I do wanna hop into this while it's running because I really, really do want to play this game. But yeah, there's a few of them on there. Go on and check the store. Like you said, I think there's 3, 4, or 5 of them on there that you can choose from. So get on there and check that out. Star Trek Online Season 12 is available now. Warframe, the Octavia update, is also available. And this is one we got to talk about here. This Prey demo is coming out this Thursday, April 27th. It's going to give you access to the first hour of the game. The more and more I hear about this game, the more and more I hear people talk about it and I read about it. This game sounds awesome, dude. Really, really awesome. Sounds like it's going to have elements of, it's going to be one of those first-person Bethesda, narrative-based. It's not even really a shooter. I'm not sure that you could classify it as such. It's more of a science fiction, narrative game, more so than anything else. Maybe closer to something like BioShock or maybe even like Dishonored. It's not just a straight up shooty bang bang alien attack game.
Right.
There's more to it than that. So there's some cool stuff with the mimic abilities and this really unnerving story about what's going on in this space station. Brent, what do you think about this game, man? Are you getting more and more excited about it the closer we get to it? Are you pretty high on this game? Where are you at right now on Prey? Are you going to jump into this beta or this demo on Tuesday?
Here's where I'm at with Prey and just about every game coming out between now and Destiny 2. I have a lot of games right now that I haven't even completed. I have a lot of games I need to play through, and I'm going to actually skip Prey for a little bit. I'm not going to play the demo because I don't want to play the demo and get some get
hooked on it.
Yeah, well, that or spoil anything that I might be able to see in the final game whenever I do get around to it. But I know Frankie's super excited for it. I know you're excited for it. It is a very interesting looking game, but I'm trying to focus on getting some of these games completed that have come out this year, these last couple of months. I am just this is probably the most overwhelmed I've been with games so far. This gen. I mean, I just seriously have so many games I need to play and complete. I don't feel like I need to be going out and buying more. I mean, with the exception of Outlast 2 and Farpoint next month, because that's something I really want to see, a first-person shooter in VR. I can't justify going out and picking up Prey right now, because Prey, I'm sure, won't be a short game, and it'll be a game that's just going to get lost in the mix of these other games I need to complete that I've started already. So I'm excited for it, but I'm going to punish myself by not jumping into this demo or picking it up at launch.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's I'm in the same boat, but I tell you, man, the more and more I read about this and I hear people talking about it, they had a press thing recently, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago. But it just sounds really, really interesting, man. But yeah, I gotta stay away from this one too. Got too much other stuff going on. All right, so that's gonna do it for the PlayStation 4 releases. On PSVR, Tarsier actually has another game coming out this week. It's called Static. It's coming out on Monday. So they've got Little Nightmares coming out on Friday. Static is a PlayStation VR puzzle game coming out on Monday. Very interesting concept. I think you kind of wake up and your hands are trapped in this contraption, and you've got to kind of solve puzzles based around your hands being stuck in this device. Very, very interesting looking game. Another puzzle game, Symphony of the Machine, coming to PSVR this week. This one involves like bending light and using the Move controllers. So that one looks like that could be cool as well. And Job Simulator is getting a retail release. That'll be out, I believe, Friday. So go out and check that out if you're a fan of physical titles. On the PS3, of course, Spectre of Torment is coming for Shovel Knight. So grab that if you have that title. On the Vita, Spectre of Torment will be there as well, like we mentioned. The Deer God, once again, cross-buy with PS4. The Legend of Dark Witch is a 2D side-scrolling game. And Period Cube, Shackles of Amadeus, is a Friday release that'll be available both digitally and retail. I believe this is a visual novel. Let's move into Xbox now, fellas. One note here, Halo Wars Definitive Edition. This kind of snuck out this week, but it's now available as a separate entity. So you can buy it separately for not only for Xbox, but for Windows 10 and Steam as well. So interesting that this game is on Steam. A few of the kind of weird Halo offshoots like that Spartan Assault and a couple of those weirder titles like that are available on Steam, but this is a big one to come over to Steam. So kind of surprised that this one's on there. What do you make of that, Brent? Do you think this is the future of Microsoft properties? Do you think they'll try and get more and more of their stuff on Steam, or what do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess you can't fault them for trying to get this out to as many people as possible. But it is interesting. I think they're going to look at that and see how this does on Steam, and this might affect how they treat their other first party games going forward.
Yeah. So that one, previously you can only grab it as part of the Halo Wars 2 Ultimate Edition, or whatever the hell it was called. But now you can grab it separately if you so choose. A couple other notes here. Arcade Archives Neo Geo Fatal Fury 2 available now, alongside Neo Geo Overtop, which is a racing game, available now on the Xbox One. A Professional Farmer 2017 Gold Edition, a Brent Felsing personal favorite, that's available now on the Xbox One. And an omission we had from last week, we actually never mentioned that Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, Episode 1 is on Xbox One as well. Of course, you probably already knew that if you're interested in the title, but wanted to make sure we cleared that up. It is available for that platform now as well. This week on the Xbox One, of course, Outlast 2 and Outlast Trinity. It will be available at retail. Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 will be over there on the platform. The Walking Dead Season 3, A New Frontier, Episode 4 is there. Siberia 3, Valhalla Hills, Little Nightmares, all coming to Xbox One this week. Lost Grimoires, Stolen Kingdom, so Xbox hitting their own Artifacts Monday joint on Friday, April 28th. So if you want to go look for hidden objects on that platform, you can do so as well. The Narco Road DLC for Wildlands will be available for non-season pass holders there as well. And Star Trek Online Season 12, Warframe Octavia Update, and the Prey demo will all be available on Microsoft's platform this week. Let's move into Nintendo, guys. What we missed last week for the Switch, Arcade Archives Neo Geo Fatal Fury, of course, is on there now for $7.99 on the eShop. This week, though, the big one, Mario Kart 8, is making its way over to the Switch in the form of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So this, brings over all the DLC from that game, new characters, a revamped battle mode. Bender, talk to me about Mario Kart 8, man.
I'm pretty excited to jump back into Mario Kart. I think this is going to be definitely the definitive version of Mario Kart 8. Mm-hmm. The battle mode was so broken on the Wii U version of the game, and I'm so happy to see that they're finally fixing it, giving us some new battle arenas, and I think that's going to be really fun to play battle mode with friends. And the racing was already good on Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, so. That was just the missing piece of the puzzle. So I'm really excited that they're bringing some new features to it, and I'm super excited to jump into it again.
Is this pretty much the perfect package in terms of Mario Kart now? Is this this is everything that you could want?
I think it is. Yeah, because Mario Kart 8, I mean, the racing was great. I loved it. I thought it was the best racing experience from any Mario Kart game I had played. And it was just the battle mode was what was sorely lacking. And now that they fixed that, I think if the battle mode feels right the way it should, and this could be the best Mario Kart game ever.
Nice. Well, that's very high praise in a series of great games, but that's not the first time I've heard that, though. Many people are now saying that Mario Kart 8, with this deluxe version, with the revamped battle mode, many are echoing your sentiments that this is the best version of Mario Kart that we've had yet. And, it runs beautifully on the Switch from what I can tell. It's a solid 60 frames all the way through. It's 60 frames on the handheld mode as well. It runs at 1080p on the TV. So it sounds like it's a really, really sharp package. The only lingering question, Brent, is the online portion of this game. We know that there is online in this game, but it seems maybe it's going to be limited. From what I understand, from what we've heard, you still can't invite people. If you're already in a game, you can't invite them to your game, which is a little bit strange in this day and age. I don't know how the Switch is going to operate in terms of online for this game. Like, are you going to be able to talk to people at all? Obviously, the phone app is not ready, so I'm guessing no. So that kind of puts a hamper on that a little bit. Where you at on Mario Kart 8, man? Specifically on the online stuff.
Look, I want to get this game, and I'm probably going to end up buying it this week. I mean, it sucks because I've got Outlast, I've got Little Nightmares, but I really do want to play this game. It has reviewed incredibly well. Digital Foundry said the game runs and looks great on the Switch. It runs smooth in handheld mode. From my understanding is, at first, when I was reading some of the reviews, they mentioned, you can't invite friends to the lobbies. I was like, wait, I can't even play with my friends in this game? That's going to suck. I want to be able to play you guys in battle mode. But it does sound like you can create lobbies, create a friends lobby, then you guys can play each other. But, being able to jump into a match, that's fine. I would like to talk trash to you guys, even though I'm going to probably be the worst player at the game. But the plus side is for us and anybody else, we have a Discord chat, so we could just jump in there, pop our headphones on, and talk through Discord. So I guess that's cool. So we can communicate that way. But like I said, we're at the mercy of Nintendo, and when they release this phone app, it's supposed to be out this summer, like a test, or they're going to try it out this summer before they'll start charging you in the fall. But as long as we're in the same room playing, I guess I don't need to talk. It sucks, but like I said, this is supposed to be the definitive version. I really want to play battle mode, and it's I need something else on my Switch, so this fits the bill.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna end up picking this up as well. I've been waiting to pick this up. I've been wanting to get it. I've been wanting to get it since the Switch came out. So I'll probably end up pulling the trigger on this as well. Hopping in there, playing some Mario Kart. I do love Kart. It's a series I've always been fond of. So I do want to play this one just because of all the great things we've heard about it. Yeah, I'm just the caveat's gonna be how the online performs. Mm-hmm. When everybody's jumping in there this initial week, like how are the servers going to hold up? How is the online portion of it going to play out? The test fire that I hopped into with Splatoon ran pretty good for the most part when I was in a match. So if that's a precursor of what we can expect from Mario Kart, hopefully we're in for a good experience on that end. But yeah, it's really crazy, man, to think that we have this game coming out with Mario Kart 8 that should be just a just fantastic online experience. Mario Kart 8 was built for multiplayer. That's what it was built for. So this should be an amazing online experience. It's crazy to think that we have this system that is coming out on that doesn't even have an online platform set up for it yet. Mm-hmm. That's just wild to even think about. So I'll be curious to see how all that plays out. But I'm probably gonna end up picking this up as well because, like you said, it sounds like an amazing experience once all is said and done. So that's Mario Kart 8. That'll be out Friday for the Nintendo Switch. Puyo Puyo Tetris is also coming to the system this week. Once again, $29.99 for the digital version, $39.99 for the retail version. And the question I have with that is this going to continue? And we've heard a little bit of scuttlebutt about Switch cartridges being more expensive to manufacture because they're not as universal. They're kind of their own proprietary thing. So I wonder if this is a precursor of things to come. Are we going to see more expensive Switch physical editions as we move through these third-party titles in the future? We'll keep our eyes on that. Kamiko is also coming to the Switch this week. It's an eShop title. It's $5. Looks like a throwback top-down action game. What we missed last week for the Wii U, Wind Kings is on there now for $10. This is a kind of a 4-player Tower Fall, Smash Brothers kind of game. Mop Operation Cleanup's on there for $5. A Bender title, if I've ever seen one, Booty Diver, is on the eShop now for $7.99.
Wow.
Yeah. So once again, Nintendo's done it week after week, but they always have the best named game, always. So they've done it again this week with Booty Diver, not a porn simulator, but in fact a diving, side-scrolling game. It's on there for $7.99. A couple of Game Boy Advance games are on the Virtual Console now for the Wii U. Rayman Advance and Rayman 3 are on there for $7.99. And Pick-a-Pix Color, the pixel art puzzle game, has a free demo on the Wii U now. This week coming to the Wii U is Use Your Words, the kind of party game where you use your smartphone to answer questions on the screen. That'll be on the Wii U on Thursday for $14.99. Let's hop over to 3DS now, what we missed last week. Urban Trial Freestyle 2, which is a 3DS exclusive, which is very strange for a game that was on PS4 and Xbox One and other platforms, the original one. So the second version is on the eShop now for $6.99. There's also a free demo available for that. Ping Pong Trick Shot 2 is on there for $1.99. Breakout Defense, the 433rd Breakout clone, is now available for the 3DS on the eShop for $7. And Pick-a-Pix Color and Blasting Agent Ultimate Edition both have free demos. This week on the 3DS, Spectre Knight, his DLC, Spectre of Torment, is coming over to Shovel Knight for that platform as well. That's going to do it for the new releases, Brent. Take it away.
Woo! That is a lot of games coming out this week, but sounds like there's a lot of good ones in there, including Booty Diver, so can't wait to get Bender's thoughts on that. We're going to take a quick break. We've got some new music here from Rual Ethan. Follow him on Twitter at Rual Ethan, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. Thanks again to Ruel Ethan for providing the music for this podcast. He produces the opening music, the closing music, the music you just listened to, and a bunch of other stuff. So check him out on SoundCloud. Look him up, Ruel Ethan. Follow him on Twitter, @Ruel Ethan. Thanks a lot for the music, dude. We'd really appreciate it. All right. The biggest news of the week. Call of Duty is officially returning to World War II in the recently announced Call of Duty World War II. I guess we're sticking with that title, boys.
Yep. Not shocking it after we saw the marketing materials or whatever that was, the steel books.
Mm-hmm.
But still a stupid name.
But hey, at least you know what it's about.
Yeah, at least. Then again, Battlefield 1 was a stupid name as well. Still a stupid name. And, they saw how much that sold. So, Activision was probably thinking like, man, if we make a stupid name for our Call of Duty game, we'll tap into that same audience there and we'll be a success. So there you go.
Less
Publisher
is more.
logic.
Less is more. Sledgehammer Games is developing Call of Duty World War II. The studio was previously lead on 2014's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, as well as assisting Infinity Ward on Modern Warfare 3. Co-studio head and founders Mikhail Condry and Glenn Schofield previously worked at Visceral on the Dead Space series. So this will take place during World War II. Some marketing materials gave away quite a bit of information here. We've got the November 3rd. Yeah, November 3rd release date.
Which is a Friday.
And if you pre-order, you'll get access to the private beta. Ooh, that sounds hot.
Yeah.
So if you pre-order the game, you'll get access to the private beta. And then there's some cool details on this marketing stuff, though. First up, we got the game description. Call of Duty returns to its roots with Call of Duty World War II, a breathtaking experience that redefines World War II for a new gaming generation. Land in Normandy on D-Day and battle across Europe through iconic location in history's most monumental war. Experience classic Call of Duty combat, the bonds of camaraderie, and the unforgiving nature of war against a global power throwing the world into tyranny. So that sounds awesome. It's your typical Call of Duty description. Everything sounds dreary and terrible and awesome. The campaign description. Call of Duty World War II tells the story of an unbreakable brotherhood of common men fighting to preserve freedom in a world on the brink of tyranny. Players enlist in a gritty, intense journey through the battlegrounds of war. The campaign features bold, lifelike visuals and the kind of blockbuster cinematic authenticity that only Call of Duty can deliver. So, lifelike visuals.
How about that phrase, dude? Blockbuster cinematic authenticity.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of an oxymoron? Cinematic authenticity.
I guess you could say that, yeah. But no, I hope it's gritty like World at War, because I remember playing that game. There were limbs getting blown off people. It was an ultra-violent Call of Duty game. Much more attention to detail when it came to the kills. So I'd like to see them return to that with this one. Multiplayer description. Call of Duty World War II multiplayer engages players grounded, fast-paced combat across many of World War II's most iconic locations. Players will also enjoy exciting new ways to interact and socialize with their friends and the Call of Duty community. There's the key words, boys. Players grounded.
Oh yeah,
boots on the ground, baby.
They made sure they mentioned that one.
They didn't mention sliding. They don't mention double jumping. They don't mention wall running or any boosting or anything like that. Just players grounded in fast-paced combat.
How hilarious would it be if we fire up Call of Duty World War II and we hop into the multiplayer and everybody's got jetpacks and mech suits and we're all flying around?
Alternate reality?
Yeah.
No, I'd be pissed. So, no, I already like I said, based on this right here, I'm already excited. But now here's the thing that I really like. Here's the one thing that really has me interested. High-octane cooperative experience. Call of Duty World War II's cooperative mode unleashes a new and original story. Play with your friends in this next-level standalone game experience full of unexpected, adrenaline-pumping moments. So not only will you have multiplayer, not only will you have the base campaign, but you're going to get a separate, new and original story to play through cooperatively with friends. Now that sounds awesome. That's what I like to hear out of a Call of Duty game. A cooperative experience. They did it in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and I'm glad they're re-implementing it here because co-op makes everything better in my opinion. I love co-op, and the fact that you're going to get a whole new standalone original story, separate but I'm sure related to the campaign for you to play through with. Now it's his friends. So I'm assuming it might be 4-player, 3 or 4-player co-op.
That's the key there, dude. Unleashes a new and original story.
Yep.
So obviously they have the full single-player campaign that they're going to do like they do for every single Call of Duty. But then if you're now unleashing a new and original story for this cooperative mode, how robust is this story going to be? Like, how much time do they have to dedicate to a whole different narrative? Is this simply going to be us playing through the main narrative from a different angle, from maybe a different point of view? Is it going to be something like that, or are we going to get like a full-on additional campaign cooperatively with this game? That's going to be interesting to see.
Look, I know Call of Duty catches a lot of crap for a lot of reasons, for maybe the choice of the gameplay styles, but there's one thing you can never fault Activision, and that is shortchanging people with content. I mean, the Call of Duty games are renowned for having a ton of multiplayer stuff, a ton of campaign, and a ton of cooperative stuff, and it doesn't seem to be changing for this. I mean, they give you a lot of stuff for $60. You're going to be busy with the Call of Duty game. Whether or not you like the multiplayer is a whole different story. But in terms of content, I don't feel like I've ever been shortchanged by Activision when it comes to Call of Duty. Boys, have you?
Nah, dude. And, when you buy this game, you buy it knowing that a good half or even more than that, maybe like 60-75% of this game is a multiplayer experience. Mm-hmm. So when you buy one of these games, you understand that that's where the majority of the player base is. Like, that's the main focus of this game. So, if you go in there and you finish the campaign after 6 hours or whatever, and you're like, man, that campaign should have been longer or whatever, it's like, I never felt like that because I didn't think like that was the main crux of the Call of Duty experience.
Right.
No, it's about the multiplayer. So the fact with this game that we're going to get that robust multiplayer suite, plus a full-on single-player campaign, plus what sounds like a cooperative campaign that's separate from that, that's a pretty sweet package, man. Mm-hmm. And it's going to come with all of the same DLC plans and post-launch content and support for the game that we're used to seeing from past Call of Duties. All that's going to be here as well. So yeah, there's no question. This is going to be an incredibly robust experience, not only when the game comes out, but a year later when all's said and done and all the content's been released for that game. It's going to be a huge package.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ben, I know you've never been really a big Call of Duty fan. Let me ask you this real quick first. What Call of Duty was most appealing to you? Was it the Call of Duty that featured the boost jumping, a lot of the futuristic stuff, or does a grounded, more level playing field type of Call of Duty sound more appealing to you? I mean, from somebody who doesn't play it much, would you rather jump into a Call of Duty that has a lot of wall running and a lot of different ways to play, or do you like the idea of, or is being more grounded, boots on the ground? Does that sound more appealing?
In general, it's never really appealed to me, but I think I personally would prefer the more like futuristic stuff, like Infinite Warfare kind of looked cool to me, even though I never actually played it. It's the one that I was like, that I could see myself maybe getting into that one, because I like the futuristic. I'm not a big history buff. I'm not a big guy. I'm not into like the gritty, like grounded, like fighting and shooting with guns and all that stuff. I like to have a little bit of like fantasy or sci-fi mixed in with my storytelling.
Right.
I think that's more appealing to me. So, the whole World War II setting doesn't really do anything for me.
Doesn't float your boat.
Not really. No.
I got you, man. I feel you. No, that's cool, dude. Like I said, I was just curious to how you felt about that one. Now, throwing in co-op, does that pique your interest a little bit? I mean, if you can play with friends, or are you still like, nah, not really?
That makes it more appealing to me, but not enough for me to want to get this game.
Right, especially with Destiny 2, so close. I'm sure. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Ugh. Poor Call of Duty World War II. That's one sell you're not going to get.
Yeah.
Brent, that's the big thing about this game for me, man. Is look, man, I know once September 8th hits and we get Destiny 2 and we get all in on that game, we're going to be all in on that game. We're going to be playing the hell out of it. We're going to be in that world and playing that kind of game. Like when Call of Duty World War II comes out, while it's cool to see them going back to that era, going back to their roots, and I mean something like Call of Duty 2, that was a landmark game. That was an excellent game at the time. It was like a watershed game for the genre. But am I even going to want to play this game when it comes out? That's the question I have, and I don't know that I will. I often try and play first-person shooters or do things other than Destiny, and I don't know, man. Every time I play one of those games, I'm just like, I'd rather just be playing Destiny. That's kind of just how it is. It's like that system and the way that game feels, and the loot and all that kind of stuff. Like that's what I want out of my first-person shooter now. And going back and playing a Call of Duty, it just hasn't fulfilled me in that way yet. And I don't know that this game's gonna be able to do that either.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you this much: there's gonna be a Steelbook edition, and I'm gonna order it. And it's going to come with the season pass, so I'm going to be happy.
There could possibly be 4 of them, right?
There could be 4 Steelbooks, so I'm going to have to buy 4 of them. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Ethan and Anderson, you're not getting anything for Christmas. But I own all the Call of Duty Steelbooks, so I'm going to have to get one of these. But I tell you what, dude, if you're ever in the mood for co-op, I'll have the game, and you'll be able to know, okay, Brent has this. He will go through this standalone cooperative experience because that's just how I am. I love co-op, and I know Destiny is definitely going to be the game we'll be playing, but if I can go through a Call of Duty campaign, which is like basically a Michael Bay movie with some friends, that actually sounds very appealing to me. So I'll definitely have the game, and if you decide to pick it up, you can fully count on me setting aside Destiny 2 for a little bit to play through this cooperative experience.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I am interested in it, and yeah, it goes back to my other question: is how robust is this cooperative experience? Like if I buy this game and this new co-op story, if it's only like 2 hours, then maybe it's not worth it,
Right.
But if we're getting a full-on cooperative campaign and it's something we hop into and we beat in a couple nights, yeah, I could probably dig that.
I'm kind of curious to see if Activision will try to expand on the VR side of Call of Duty. We had that little, what was it called? Something Jackal Assault.
Yeah, the Jackal Assault.
With Infinite Warfare. So I'm kind of curious if they tested the waters with that and see if maybe there's something they could implement in this Call of Duty. I still think Farpoint will be the litmus test to see how first-person shooters handle in VR. And, man, that PlayStation aim, if that thing turns out to be as accurate and as effective as I hope it is, I could totally see Activision saying, hey, look, how can we use this? How can we implement this into our game? Because Activision wants to create an awesome experience, and I'm sure everyone, even AAA developers, are interested in VR. I'm kind of curious to see how Activision takes what they learned from Jackal Assault and find a way to implement it with the PlayStation aim, depending on how well it does, into World War II.
Yeah, I'd love to see something like that as well, even if it's just something experimental, maybe like an hour and a half experience that they're able to put in there just to kind of show what they can do with VR. I think that would be awesome. Man, how much money is Activision going to make this fall when they release Destiny in September and then they pump out the next Call of Duty in November? I mean, that's disgusting, man.
They'll be fine, I think. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll break even. They'll break even.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, here's the strange bit of news related to Call of Duty. I mean, we got the World War II. You can expect a reveal on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be on their Call of Duty channel. Sledgehammer Games is going to show off a little bit of the game. We'll get to see some more information then. But on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, Sledgehammer Games will be revealing Call of Duty World War II officially with a trailer of some sort. So,
also, real quick too, Brent, the box art has leaked, of course, for the games, and it prominently displays on there that PlayStation will continue to have the 30-day DLC deal or whatever. So that appears to be intact for this version as well.
Man, Sony's just got everything locked up this fall, don't they?
Yeah, it's pretty cagey what they've done with their third-party relations. I mean, getting behind games like Battlefront and Destiny and Call of Duty and Red Dead. It's pretty crazy how they've played their cards in that space, and it's worked out very, very well for them.
But as I was going to mention a moment ago, it wasn't just World War II that got some attention. There's been a small story that actually came out today. It's a rumor as of right now, but Black Ops 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 from 2 years ago, could be getting a new expansion, and this sounds awesome if this is true. According to a Spanish retailer listing, 8 classic zombie maps are to be remastered from past Call of Duty titles. Here's the description as it's been translated. It is a full suite which brings the original contents of Black Ops 3 and the contents of Zombie Chronicles, including 8 classic maps of Treyarch's Zombies Remastered, and all the maps include the Gobblegum feature. So they're going to, according to this, they're going to bring back 8 maps from like Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1 zombie maps and bring them all together in Black Ops 3. That's really, really awesome. And here's the crazier thing. Furthermore, it's rumored that a new version of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 will be released with these maps included. So another retail release for Black Ops 3 2 years after launch, but it will include all of these 8 remastered maps. If this is true, again, this is a rumor. Nothing's been confirmed. I'm sure if they announce this will be something that they announce at E3. But that sounds awesome. Now, look, I love the zombies in Call of Duty, and if you can get Black Ops 3, and this makes me wonder if this is just the end of the Black Ops franchise, or that story arc anyways, because if you're going through all this effort to bring all the maps front and forward to Black Ops 3, I gotta believe this is the final Black Ops entry, because you're gonna have everything in one spot. And if you're a fan of zombies, and if you can have that entire story in one spot in Black Ops 3 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I think that's a sweet idea, boys. What do you think on that, man?
I do like that idea. The zombies are great, and to have the whole entire saga in one game is pretty cool to think about. I think even more so than this possibly being the end of the Black Ops saga, man. I just think this is a testament to the popularity of Black Ops 3. Mm-hmm. And if I had to guess, I would say that the online for Black Ops 3 is probably more popular than Infinite Warfare right now. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know where Modern Warfare Remastered falls in there. I'm sure that one's extremely popular as well. But people continue to play Black Ops 3 week in and week out, day after day. Like, people love that game. People love that series. They love that franchise. They love that branch of the Call of Duty brand. And, you know, we constantly we see the statistics come out about game sales and stuff, and Black Ops 3 like continues to just be a gangbuster in that regards. And this could just be them throwing a bone to that community. Like, look, you guys have supported this game for 2 years now. It's been incredible. You love this game. You've voiced how much you love it. So let's go back to the well on that. Let's give these people some additional content that they're sure to buy because they love this game. Mm-hmm. So they pump out this map pack, which is rumored to be $30. Includes, you know, all 8 of the original Zombies maps remastered. So let's get this content out there for them, and then let's re-release the game as well. So when they're playing it, they can get the rest of their friends in there, and they can go out and buy this new version of Black Ops that's complete with the entire zombie saga. And then they've got another Call of Duty game that they're pumping out to people this year, and that Activision money pile just continues to grow. So I just think it does make sense for them to go ahead and do this because of the popularity of that game and the user base that it has and still has to this day.
Mm-hmm. Tell you what, man, with the right price, I'll jump on that, dude. I will definitely pick that up because is
$30 the right price?
I mean, we talked about this, you know, a little bit ago, but
mm-hmm.
You know, it makes sense. I mean, if you look at the map packs for Call of Duty, they're typically $15 and you get 4 maps. And if you get 4 zombie maps, $30 sounds about right. And and you got to keep in mind too, the zombie maps aren't the same as a multiplayer map. Multiplayer map is just a smaller size map, but zombie maps are much more unique. There's a lot more to the zombie maps than there is a multiplayer map. So you're getting a sizable amount of content here for $30 if that's the price. And that's, to me, for a fan of the zombie series, I think that's a no-brainer price. I think it's a no-brainer purchase.
Yeah, I mean, if you love zombies, you're gonna jump in at that price.
Absolutely, for sure. So, but again, that's a rumor. We'll see what happens over the next couple months. If this turns out to be true, that's gonna be pretty sweet, dude. I'm gonna be excited about that. Up next, Bender, Nintendo is supposedly going to launch a Super Nintendo Entertainment System Mini this year. Now, you weren't able to get an NES Classic, but now you might have the opportunity to grab an SNES Mini. Nintendo will follow up. This is according to a source that told this to Eurogamer. Nintendo will follow up its Smash NES microconsole with a mini version of the SNES. It's slated to come out this Christmas. Bender, are you going to try to get this damn thing?
I'm going to try. I actually didn't try to get the NES Mini because I was like, oh, I'll wait till the hype dies down. I'll pick one up later. I didn't know they were going to discontinue it. So now I'm disappointed that I didn't try to get one, and because now it's too late. So I am going to try to get the Super Nintendo Mini if they do make one. I love some of the Super Nintendo games. Like the NES games are great, but like when I think about like Super Mario World, Zelda Link to the Past, Super Metroid, so many great, awesome games that they could put on that thing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to get one of these. So yeah, definitely.
Now I wanted to mention these really quick because there's an account on Twitter, Cheap Ass Gamer, mentioned that Best Buy is holding NES Classic Editions for Monday the 24th. So you might have an opportunity. I don't know if that meant in-store, if it meant retail, or if it meant online. But supposedly Best Buy will have some for sale on Monday. So you might want to look at that. You might still have an opportunity to get an NES Classic, dude.
Those are going to go fast, I'm sure. I'll see what I can do.
Boyce, the SNES microconsole. What games would you want to see? First of all, do you want one of these? And second of all, what titles are you hoping to see on there?
Here's the thing, dude. The Super Nintendo is my favorite system of all time. All right, like that's the system where I really became the gamer that I am today. Mm-hmm. Just countless hours spent on that thing with all of the great titles that were on the Super Nintendo. That's where I discovered role-playing games. It's where Mario World and Zelda and all that kind of stuff is on there, like Bender mentioned. It's a fantastic system, and it is and probably always will be my favorite gaming system for that reason. But I don't want another separate device to put under my TV, man. I just don't. All right, the NES Classic was a novelty item, and when I looked at it like, okay, this is something where I wouldn't mind getting it for my kids, putting it under the living room TV, and they could play it there if they want. And that's about it. It's something you fire up and you play a couple games on it for a minute, and then you never go back to it. And as great as the library is for the Super Nintendo, it's going to be the same thing for this device. I don't want a Nintendo device that's separate from all my other stuff. I really just want the damn virtual console on the Nintendo system that I already have. That's what I want to see. I want to see the Super Nintendo Virtual Console on the Switch. That's what I really want to see. I don't want to see a separate micro box that I can put under my TV with all this other stuff. That's probably going to have a 3-foot controller cable, and you probably have to buy your own HDMI cord. There's going to be some weird shit with it, like there always is with Nintendo. But I don't know, man. I just can't bring myself to get that excited about it because I don't want a separate device for this. I really would just like to get this stuff on my Switch. That's what I would like to do. That's one of the things one of the reasons I bought the system is for the hope that they would do something like this with these classic games, and I'd be able to carry them around with me wherever I go. So, I don't know how much this thing's going to cost or even what kind of games they could get on it, but there's a ton of games they could put on here, dude. You got to put Mario World, you got to put Link to the Past, you got to put Super Metroid, you probably put Star Fox on there, Super Mario RPG. Then you get into the RPG stuff with Square. I don't know what the licensing or the rights are with those games, but there's Final Fantasy 2, which is Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 3, which is Final Fantasy 6. Both of those would have to be on there. Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana. These are the RPG games that would have to be on there in my opinion if they're going to put some on there. Donkey Kong Country, those games got to be on there.
Super Mario Kart,
yeah. So, and there's a million games you could put on there, man. And like I said, it's a fantastic system, but I want this stuff on my Switch. That's where I'm at with it. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to deal with this again. I don't want to deal with not being able to go to a store and buy one, or having to, refresh my computer for 20 minutes at a time at 4 o'clock in the morning because I'm trying to get in on this one shipment that's, the only one that's going to be available for the next 6 weeks. Like, I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. So I'd really just like to have this stuff on the system I already have. That's where I'm at.
It's so weird. I just walked into my GameStop and I got one.
Yeah. Like, I didn't like Bender, I didn't really try to get an NES Classic. If I really wanted to, like, I could have done that. I could have refreshed the computer and been there at one of these shipments. But at the end of the day, it's just wasn't that excited about it.
Right.
It's like, I really don't want another thing to put under my TV right now that's separate from all my other stuff. It's just not really worth it.
I tell you what, if you guys can't get one on Monday or before they get canceled, I will sell you mine for the low cost of like $500. And I mean,
What
that's
a
it.
deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of great games on the Super Nintendo. I'll probably try to find a way to get a hold of one of these, just so I can have it. Like I said, I don't mind having systems. I like being surrounded by systems and just all snugged up with systems. So if I can have a bunch of systems around me, I'm quite happy with that. But
Yeah, it's like I have enough systems. I have a Super Nintendo still with all my Super Nintendo games. So if I wanted to, I could just plug it in and play the stuff I have. And while it's cool to have an HDMI and plug it into your main TV and stuff, I don't want something that's disconnected from my core gaming experience right now.
can you imagine like how intense it's going to be when this thing goes for sale, knowing that everyone's going to be thinking to themselves, this thing's going to be discontinued in 4 months? People are going to go nuts trying to get one of these things. It's going to be deadly out there at the stores, folks. Order it online if you can, because it's going to be deadly at the stores.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the virtual console.
That would be nice. Hopefully we'll get that soon. All right, let's talk NPD. Let's talk March NPD results. And we've got at the top of the list, this is across all platforms, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands was the top selling game of March. Obviously, on the Nintendo Switch, not the case. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was number 1 on the Switch and number 2 overall for the month of March. Pretty good. So overall, we started with Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is multi-platform, and then Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which had I don't know how you go above 1 attach ratio, but Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was number 2. Number 3, Mass Effect Andromeda. Number 4, Horizon Zero Dawn. Still going strong. MLB The Show at number 5. And then Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 6. I think just won't go away. For Honor, number 7. NBA 2K17 at number 8. Nier Automata at number 9. And Call of Duty Infinite Warfare rounded out the top 10. It's worth mentioning that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did not include digital sales. Same with Horizon Zero Dawn and MLB The Show. So how much that would have changed the scenery, I'm not sure. But, boys, do you think The Legend of Zelda had included digital sales would have taken over for Ghost Recon?
No, I don't.
No?
But I think Horizon may have overtook Andromeda, though. I mean, we know the numbers on that one. It ended up pushing 2.5 million units or whatever after a few weeks. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I assume most of that was in March. So I think that one might have jumped up above Mass Effect with that. But I think with the Switch being a new console and people buying this game with their Switch when they bought the console, I don't think the digital sales would have made a drastic difference for this particular game. Mm-hmm. And Wildlands was available across all of the consoles and sold like gangbusters from what I understand. So I don't think they were giving up that top spot.
It's true. And also on this list, it was pretty cool. I don't know if I've seen this the last couple of times, or maybe I just missed it completely. But the top 10 best-selling games of 2017 as of March. This is like this year so far. Number 1, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands is the number 1 best-selling game of 2017 so far. Number 2, For Honor. So Ubisoft having a nice start to 2017. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 3. Resident Evil 7 at number 4. Mass Effect Andromeda at number 5. Seriously, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the 6th best-selling game of 2017. Number 7, Horizon Zero Dawn. Number 8, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. NBA 2K17 at number 9. And Battlefield 1 rounding out the top 10. Anything stand out on that list to you, boys?
Not in particular. I mean, I guess you could point out For Honor and Resident Evil 7. Being within the top 5 games of the year for 2017, and we've talked about this all year, man. But in an extremely strong year of video games so far in 2017, to see For Honor and Resident Evil up there in the top is pretty impressive. Like they weathered the storm, they beat off all these other games that are nipping at their heels, and they're there in the top 5 games of the year so far. So I think that's pretty impressive. You mentioned Grand Theft Auto 5 still hanging around there. I think it's also worth noting that if digital sales weren't included in the other lists, I don't think they're included here as well for some of these games. So Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't know what else. Battlefield 1, I think, is one that doesn't get the digital sales as well. But those aren't included in this list as well, and could change things significantly, especially as we continue to move towards a digital world on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Like, more and more people are buying digital for these games, especially for some of these big games, like big first-party games. Like, people are all on board. They're getting heavy promotion on the actual storefront. So I imagine a lot of people bought Horizon Zero Dawn digitally, if I had to guess. And I think that would change their number drastically, but don't know for sure.
Now, obviously, the Switch has The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and there's been other titles released since then. What kind of performance are you expecting out of I almost said Mortal Kombat 8, Mario Kart 8? I mean, where do you think that baby's going to land on this list next month?
Oh, it's going to be near the top, if not at the top. For next month. I mean, I know it's only going to be out for a few days in April, so that might affect it. But I think for sure it's probably going to chart in April if those statistics are even counted for April. I know sometimes they do weird things with MPD for how they count the weeks or whatnot. So if the April stats are included for the entirety of the month, I think it's going to chart. But I think for sure in May it's probably going to be at or near the top for that month. Because the reality is, man, it's like people bought Zelda with their Switch, and now they're looking for the next game to buy, and that's going to be Mario Kart. People are waiting for it. This is another one that's going to have an extremely high attach rate. Historically, Mario Kart 8 has had a high attach rate for Nintendo products in the past, so I think it's going to be extremely high. It might reach Zelda-type levels in terms of its attach rate. Won't be quite that high because it's not going to be available on launch day as the only game that you could play or buy that's worth the system, worth buying the system for. But, yeah, it's going to be extremely high attach rate, I think. So it's going to depend on how many Switches they can get out into the wild between now and then and throughout the month of March. How is supply going to be for this system? If they can get it into more people's hands, it's going to chart pretty high.
I agree with you on that one. Ben, are you expecting some strong numbers for Mario Kart 8?
I would think so, yeah. I agree with Boyce. I think it's going to have a pretty high attach rate. And, a lot of people who bought a Switch are probably going to want to have another game to play on it. So, and Mario Kart's always fun, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to get it.
Yeah. I'll be one of them. Even though I don't want to this week, I'll be one of them. So that's your NPD update in terms of software. Boys, let's hop into some PlayStation stories. What's going on in the world of PlayStation, buddy?
First and foremost, Farpoint has gone gold. So, Brent, you've mentioned this title a few times on the podcast here. They've gone gold. They released a new story trailer for the game to give us a little bit of a glimpse into what's going on in this title. So it's on track for its release date now, May 16th, 2017. So what do you think about this, dude? To me, this game, it has the potential to be a big-time title. It has the potential to be a breakthrough VR title. This could be a watershed game if this is executed at a high level. Like, this could show people what AAA or what first-person shooters could look like in a virtual reality setting. Like, it's got that kind of weight on its shoulders. So that it might be unfair maybe to put that type of pressure on this game. Maybe not. Maybe it meets or even exceeds our expectations. But I have very high expectations for this game. I have very high expectations for how the VR aim controller is going to change this experience, and I'm really looking to this game as to be one of the kind of founding fathers of AAA development for PlayStation VR and giving us an idea of what these games could look like on this device in this space. Brent, what do you think?
No, I think you're right. I think this is going to be a very influential game. I think this is going to be a turning point type of game. And I don't think I think Sony understands that pressure. I don't think there's too much pressure. I mean, I think they understand this is a very big title. I think for developer Impulse Gear, I think they know that too. I mean, they took the time to work with Sony to create the peripheral, the PlayStation Aim, and like you said, this is going to influence a lot of developers on first-person shooters in a VR space. And from what I've seen in the trailers, this looks incredibly fun. It sounds like they've got the movement down, implemented very well based on the hands-on that I've read. It plays great. It feels good. It sounds like it's a pretty awesome world to explore. We don't know how long this game is going to be. We don't know if this is going to be one of those shorter experiences or if this is going to be a full-on type of AAA release. We don't really know that. We'll find out closer to launch or when the reviews come out. But I think this is a huge title, not just for PlayStation VR, but for VR in general. Because this is going to show us how immersive and how well done how well a first-person game can fare in a VR world.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at as well, and I think it's important to note here too that we know Resident Evil 7 was playable from beginning to end in VR. Like we understand that that's obviously a huge AAA game, but this game here was built from the ground up with VR in mind.
Yep.
Like Resident Evil 7, you can experience with the controller, you can play it off, without VR, and it's a fine experience. But Farpoint created from the beginning, from the ground up, to be a PlayStation VR showcase title. And now it's going to have to put its money where its mouth is this May 16th. And, yeah, dude, I'm really, really excited to try this out and see what it's all about because this could be a kind of genre-defining, path-altering title for the PlayStation VR. If this game comes out and it works well and it succeeds and people see that, this is just going to open the floodgates and people are going to be more interested in doing longer form AAA development experiences in a VR setting, specifically for PlayStation VR, now that they've seen that Farpoint was able to do it, or if that's the case. So yeah, a lot riding on the shoulders of Farpoint. Bender, what are you thinking about this game right now?
I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. It looked like a really cool game from the trailers I've seen. I need another reason to put on my VR headset because it's been a while since I haven't played the PlayStation VR too much in a while. So yeah, I think it'll be a really interesting experience, and hopefully it pays off, and hopefully it's a cool game. So I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Are you gonna pick this up day one? Because I mean, look, dude, this is a first-person shooter. It's sci-fi. It's PSVR. It's everything that you like in a game. I mean, is this something? I mean, how important is this to you? I mean, think about the future of like Destiny or some of these other sci-fi games you like. I mean, if they see that this aim thing, this PSVR aim thing, is 1-to-1 and it's accurate, how this could change like all these games that you enjoy now in a VR world, like down the line. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
That's a pretty exciting prospect. So yeah, it's if it turns out to be something that really plays well and feels right, then I mean that could be pretty exciting for the future of first person games in VR. I like that. I think that sounds cool, and I do like the sci-fi theme and everything. Is there going to be like co-op and stuff? Do we know?
There is a co-op. You can play it cooperatively. Yes.
Okay. That's definitely appealing to me as well, to be able to jump in with some friends and shoot bugs or whatever, spiders.
That's a big spider.
Like it's, yeah. There were some big, scary looking spiders in the trailer. So, I'm pretty excited to try that out.
The co-op mode, Brent, is a separate thing in this game, right? Is that, if I remember reading it correctly, is that right?
I didn't get the specifics on it. I thought the campaign was just cooperative.
Maybe it is. I might be misremembering that, but there's definitely some kind of co-op in this game.
Yes, there is absolutely 100% co-op in this.
Do we know how many players it is? Is it just
it's
two players?
Two-player co-op. Yep.
2-player co-op. Okay. So, if you had to guess, man, like what are you thinking in terms of the narrative in this game? Like how robust is this experience going to be? Like, do you think this is just going to be a few hours? Do you think we're going to get something more towards like the 4 or 5 hour, or could it go even longer? What do you think that we're going to get from this?
What I'm expecting is I'm expecting a maybe I don't expect this to be a short experience, but I don't expect this to be like a Resident Evil type of experience in terms of length. From a narrative perspective, I'm not expecting anything mind blowing. I think it's just going to be just enough to give you a reason why you're there, and whether or not the game takes itself too seriously or not, or if it's one of those just goofy games. I have no idea, but I'm not expecting a terribly deep narrative. Like again, I still think this is going to be more of an experience. I don't think this is going to be a long game, but I think it's just this is a big test. I'm not expecting a massive experience, but I think this has the possibility to lead to those types of experiences.
Yeah. I'm going to be a little disappointed if this is like a 2-hour experience. Like, I'm expecting this to be a little bit longer.
I'll be pissed.
Like, I feel like this I'm looking towards like a 4 or 5 hour experience for the campaign in this game. That's what I'm expecting from this in terms of everything that I've heard about it and kind of the muscle that's been put behind it. So I hope that's what it ends up being, and it ends up being like a taut 5 hour, just like high octane experience. I think that would be really, really, really cool.
I hope
I'm
so.
kind of and I'm a little bit pissed too, man, that I didn't end up pre-ordering one of these AIM bundles. I didn't know that they were going to be in short supply, but they're out at Amazon, so you can't get any of these.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah,
I didn't
from
get
what
one either.
from what I understand. I mean, I'll have to double check again, but yeah, they've been out of stock for a little while. Let's do a live looking.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, I didn't mess around, dude. As
podcasting,
soon as this became available, I went to GameStop and pre-ordered, man. I was like, dude, I gotta have this, the whole bundle and everything. I was the same way with SOCOM 4 when they had the PlayStation 8 or whatever that. I don't know what the hell was that thing called when it came out.
It was the Sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter. Yeah, I didn't waste any time. I bought that bundle immediately with SOCOM 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Farpoint bundle currently unavailable at Amazon. It's been that way for a while now. Let's double check in with our friends at Best Buy.
I can't remember. Did the Sharpshooter first come out with Killzone 3, or was SOCOM 4 before Killzone 3? Because I know.
No, it came out with Killzone 3. Yeah,
Okay,
Killzone 3 was the first one that it came out with. That was kind of the showpiece game for it, and I remember it working well with that. If I remember correctly.
Because I know I got mine with the SOCOM 4 version. And I would have thought for sure I would have got Killzone 3.
I don't know if they had a bundle for Killzone 3. That could have been the
maybe that's
differentiating
what it was.
factor.
I know it was bundled with SOCOM 4. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. I also could be remembering it wrong. It could have came out first and been utilized on Killzone 3 after that. I think that's a possibility as well. I might just be misremembering. So, looking at Best Buy here, it is available for pre-order. The bundle is still available on there. So
there you go, Bender.
I may have to go ahead and do that.
On it.
Yep. So knock that out right now. It's actually a pretty good price for the bundle, $79.99. You get the game and the controller. The game is $50 by itself. So.
And Gamer
extra.
Club Unlocked works on that, correct?
Yep, you get 20% off it as well. So
boom.
Obviously, brings it down into the $60 and some change range. So I am going to get on that as well. But yeah, we're all excited about Farpoint. The fact that it's gone gold is awesome. It's going to hit its release date. So it seems like development has been going well in this. I mean, it's hitting its targets. It's going to come out on its projected release date. Brent, you mentioned some of the hands-on stuff has been positive. So really, really excited for this game, man. And I hope Impulse Gear knocks it out of the park. Those guys have been working on it pretty hard. All right. Now, Everybody's Golf has a release date, and, man, it's coming out at a tough time here. August 29th, Everybody's Golf, which is the latest in the Hot Shots Golf series, the first PS4 iteration. It's coming out on August 29th. It's adopting the Japanese name of the series now in Everybody's Golf for over here as well, which is interesting. I'm not sure if they just want to get a new branding out there for the Hot Shot series, if they don't think that name has enough cachet, or if they just want to kind of keep it in line in terms of their worldwide brand. I don't know. But, Brent, what do you think about this release date, dude? What do you think about them changing the name to for the West here?
Okay, first off, Hot Shots has more cachet than the generic everybody's golf. Okay, no. If I walk into a store right now and they're like, "Hey, what golf games do you guys got?" And they're like, "Oh, we got Hot Shots." I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know Hot Shots. I want that." If I walk into a place and they're like, "We got everybody's golf," I'll be like, "Dude, I'm good. Just give me a copy of used Rory McIlroy or whatever it is." So, no, everybody's golf. I think they should have stuck with Hot Shots. I know Hot Shots. And I'm not even a huge fan of the series. I know Hot Shots would be more appealing to me than somebody saying everybody's golf. So that's kind of a goofy name.
I guess the question is did they just not think that the Hot Shots golf name just had enough, pizzazz behind it anymore? Like, did they think that was not a big enough brand to base this game off of, and they wanted to try and go in a different direction with it?
I have no idea. All I do know is Hot Shots Golf has more pizzazz than Everybody's Golf. I think Everybody's Golf is just lame. I just think that's just a dumb name for a game. Everybody's Golf. That's dumb. Hot Shots Golf was just, they should have stuck with that or come up with something with more pizzazz than Hot Shots Golf, not go backwards.
I like Hot Shots Golf. I like that name, and it's been a great series for a long time over here.
Yeah.
This iteration's been a long time coming. So I don't know why they would adopt the Japanese name for the game over here, but
My first time with Hot Shots Golf was on the Vita with World Tour.
No.
I thought that game was awesome. I had a really good time with that, and that's why I always know. Okay, Hot Shots Golf. I know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pick it up. But you tell some random Everybody's Golf, they're like, what the hell is that? That sounds dumb.
I mean, Hot Shots has been on PlayStation since PS1. There's been a million Hot Shots Golf over the years, and they've all been pretty good.
I mean, John Daly's Golf had more pizzazz than Everybody's Golf. Remember John Daly's Golf on PS3? I think it was a move game.
Yeah,
and it was terrible, but it was that has more pizzazz than Everybody's Golf. It's just whatever. But in regards,
Daly's Golf, it was like John Daly's Power Shot Golf or something.
Dude, I bought it. It was trash. It was a terrible game. But in terms of release date, suicide. I mean,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's Everybody's Golf. You have a generic game in between. Let's see, Shadow of War. What else comes out on the 22nd? There's like five other things.
The Lost Legacy.
The Lost Legacy comes out on the 22nd, and then Destiny 2 a week later. Good luck, Everybody's Golf. You're gonna die.
Something else comes out on the 29th as well. I don't remember. Yakuza. That's what it is.
Oh, Yakuza has more pizzazz, more cachet than Everybody's Golf. So, yeah, terrible spot.
Yeah, Bender, any interest in this one, man? This kind of has that, the Mario Golf kind of feel to it. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Maybe. I do like Mario Golf, so
he'll just play Mario Golf then.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
Yeah, August 29th. Don't see that one faring too well. Now, a game that looks destined for the indie spotlight is Super Rude Bear Resurrection. It's launching on May 2nd on the PlayStation 4, and it's a very Super Meat Boy-esque kind of game.
Oh boy.
It's brutally difficult, extremely hard. The hook with this game, though, is that it gets easier every time you fail the level. So what happens is when you die, you play this bear. When your bear dies, his body stays there for your next run. So as you continue to die, your bodies kind of pile up in this level, and it just makes it easier to go through it. So, for instance, they mention if you get crushed by a boulder, next time it's slightly slower. So the actual environment changes as well. If you die on an axe, your corpse gets stuck to the blade, so it can't cut you again. You got killed by a liquid nitrogen missile, your frozen body becomes a floating platform to protect you. So it's as you die in these ridiculous ways, your body stays there, and you can use that to progress through the level, and the level will get easier the more and more times you fail it. So I think that's a really interesting concept. But yeah, it's, from what I understand from the way they describe this game, it's like a brutally difficult platformer like Super Meat Boy, but with the caveat of you can use your body to kind of help yourself get through the levels. Also, there's a trophy, and it's part of this whole game. Will have a platinum trophy. But there's a trophy for getting through this game without dying and living through all of these levels and beating them at like it's their purest state. So, if you are looking to get the platinum in Super Rude Bear Resurrection, you have to put on your big boy pants because it sounds like it's going to be a rough one.
Wow.
I have one question though.
Yes.
Is Super Rude Bear like the distant cousin of Epic Dumpster Bear?
I think they might be related.
Nice.
Yeah, Epic Dumpster Bear.
That was a great one.
Yeah. Has there ever been a greater Wii U game than Epic Dumpster Bear? That's awesome. So yeah, May 2nd. That one's, like I said, probably going to be on the spotlight. So we'll keep our eyes out for that one. A 1 terabyte PS4 Slim is launching this month, and it will be available for the same price as the Slim is right now. So $300 will get you double the hard drive. This should be out sometime in the near future. I'm thinking this week it's going to be released. They said April, so there's not too many more days left in April. So I think we can anticipate this showing up in stores maybe later this week. A music-themed RPG called Area is coming out for the PS4 on June 30th, and it's like an action RPG. It's based around music though, and it's a really cool looking title. Looks like if Diablo or a game where you play it as like a lute player or something like that. But you go through, like, your weapons are all musically themed, the bosses are musically themed, the enemies are musically themed. It's got a really crazy story about finding the 9 primordial instruments to reunite the world and stuff. It's a crazy sounding story, but a cool looking game. I'm gonna keep my eye out for that one too on June 30th. Nier Automata getting some new DLC, and part of that you'll actually be able to fight Square Enix CEO as a boss character. So that should be interesting. But there's some new costumes you're gonna be able to get. There's some new missions and stuff you'll be able to tackle. So that's supposed to arrive in the near future. No date on that yet. We also have some new content coming to Street Fighter V. So there's a new stage. It's a remake of the Thailand stage from Street Fighter II, which is a classic stage that many of us fighting fans remember. So that one's going to be available for $3.99, and there's some new costumes coming as well, so be on the lookout for that if you are playing Street Fighter V. And then one final note here for the PlayStation news. A new patch is inbound for Final Fantasy 15 on April 27th. It'll address some other features in the game, but most notably, it will add a new stable mode for PS4 Pro, which I'm assuming will lock the frame rate back to 30 frames per second, which was not an option in this last PS4 Pro patch. So that will give people a more stable experience at the higher resolution. Brent.
That's good to hear. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Boyce. All right, let's jump over to Xbox. First up, May's games with gold have been revealed. And here's what you can expect in the month of May. Available from May 1st to May 31st. Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams, the Director's Cut. Gianna, this is a hardcore, fast-paced platformer with a twist. You warp Gianna's world to transform your surroundings and abilities. With the combination of challenging levels, gigantic boss fights, and countless hazards and mysteries, you must use the skills and abilities to defeat the dangers that populate these twisted dreams. This game actually looks pretty good. It's a good-looking trailer. I don't know. I've actually never even heard of this game prior to this reveal of May's Games of Gold. But boys, what'd you think of this game? I think this looks pretty good.
I think I actually have this on PS4. I haven't played it yet. There's a few of these Gianna Sisters games, and yeah, they always look really cool. They're like you said, they have the gigantic boss battles and the challenging levels and fast-paced platforming and all that kind of stuff that I enjoy in these games. So I picked up either one or two of these games on the PlayStation 4. I have some on the PS3 as well, but I haven't actually played any of these Gianna Sisters games. But I've heard a few good things about them, so this does look really cool.
Ben, or any interest in this one, man? This looks like this might be right up your alley.
I don't know much about it, but I'd definitely be willing to check it out, especially if I'm getting it free with Games with Gold. So, yeah, I'm always willing to check those out for free.
It's normally a $15 title. It'll be available on May 1st, and it'll run through the end of the month. Also coming to Games with Gold, Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. This is normally a $20 game. This will be available from May 16th through June 15th on Xbox One. And then for those Star Wars fans, for the month of May, you can get on Xbox 360, but it's also backwards compatible, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 and Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. Both are $20 games you'll get for free with Games with Gold. Boyce, even though you don't have an Xbox One, What's your thoughts on the Xbox Games with Gold overall?
I mean, it sounds pretty good. I haven't played the Temple of Osiris yet, but I've heard good things about that one. Gianna Sisters looks cool. I do like The Force Unleashed, and I love Lego Star Wars. So it's a good lineup of games. If you don't have any of these, it's a nice slate, I think, for May.
Bender?
Yeah, I think this is a really good lineup this month. I haven't played the Temple of Osiris either, but I really, really like the Force Unleashed games. Those are both really cool games. And, the Lego games are fun as well. So, I think these are all are pretty good choices for this month.
Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris is actually a really good game. It's actually really fun. I think you can play it cooperatively. I played it solo, but I believe it is a cooperative experience. I thought that was really, really good when it came out. Gianna Sisters I'll definitely pick up. I don't own it, so that's free. I hate to admit this. I never played The Force Unleashed 1 or 2. Didn't play either of them. Nope.
Ooh.
Didn't play either of them, but I know a lot of people love them. I know that they're very big with Star Wars fans. I have played Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Those games, like Ben, you said, they're goofy games. They're super fun, but they're very faithful to the movies. So very, very cool there. But no, I think it's a decent month, pretty solid. Lara Croft: The Temple of Osiris. Don't let that one slip through. That one's actually a pretty fun game, and it can be played cooperatively. So definitely give that a look.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's nothing like earth-shattering, but I think the lineup is solid.
Strong lineup.
Yeah.
World to the West comes to Xbox in May. It's a new take on the top-down action-adventure genre. World to the West may be a game about people adventuring in the lush ruins of a long-forgotten civilization, but it has a bit of special sparkle to it. There's no sword-singing or arrow-shooting elves here. We've got folks who can mind-control enemies, kids burying themselves like wusses to avoid monsters, introvert castaways zapping said monsters with the power of science, and brutish aristocrats pummeling living turnips instead. 4 heroes, 4 stories, 1 adventure. This actually looks really, really good. What'd you think? Did you watch the trailer for this, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
I think this looks pretty sweet. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it looks sweet too, man. The kind of the 4 different player concept. The art style is really, really cool. It's got the top down thing that you would see in like Legend of Zelda or Diablo or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think having these 4 different stories and these 4 different characters that all have different abilities, it remains to be seen how they all come together. I'm unsure if each person has a separate story or if you're kind of weaving in between them. But I think it's got some promise. It looks cool.
Ben,
it's coming to PS4 as well, just in PC as well. So it's coming to all the platforms in May.
Okay.
So everybody's aware.
Cool. Up next, new updates coming to the Xbox Insiders Club this month, including Killer Instinct tournaments, and will be added to the arena on Xbox Live. We've also got some fan-requested feature updates headed our way. First up, you can share your Looking for Group post on the activity feed or through a message. Unfollow a club or game hub directly from your activity feed. Your profile will display your arena tournament history and upcoming tournaments. For Beam and Twitch broadcasters, you will now have the option in the guide for your Connect to locate you automatically. Connect.
That's funny.
Yeah. Captive portal support for wireless internet is coming to Xbox One, which allows for Wi-Fi authentication through a browser. Great for colleges, hotels, or public Wi-Fi locations. Filter posts on your activity feed on the Xbox app for iOS and Android. And on the Xbox app for Windows 10, we're adding the option to select audio input and output sources for party chat. So, constantly getting new updates, all sorts of new features. And last bit of Xbox news, 343 Industries has revealed that a game-breaking bug is responsible for the delayed release of the new Colony DLC for Halo Wars 2. It was originally slated for release earlier this month, but has still not seen an appearance due to a crippling bug which revolved around new skitterer units. These skitterers can be attached to a friendly unit and act as an auto-targeting turret. Unfortunately, the bug meant that once locked on, skitterers could continue firing at enemies despite range and line of sight, meaning they could fire from across the map. So they realized this bug would become a cheap exploit and then would immediately result in some really bad game experiences, a whole lot of salt from players on the receiving end. So instead of releasing the DLC broken, 343 has resolved fix the bug first. And this is what they had to say. As much as we hate to let down players and fall through on a promise, holding the DLC to make sure these issues get addressed is the right, albeit painful, call to make. So I don't know anybody who'd be pissed about that. I mean, it's disappointing, but I would not want them to release this DLC if this basically just destroys the game. So it's cool.
At least they caught it. So.
Yeah, thank God they caught it before, because that would have been just disastrous. They would have had to pull down the mode. They would have had to do God knows what to get that thing working. So small delay, but don't worry about it. It's much needed. So
have you hopped back into Halo Wars 2 at all?
Dude, that's one of the 10 games I've started, but I haven't finished. So
Gotcha.
I have to like just pick these games one at a time, plow through it, and get to the next one. That is on my list of games to complete. I know Frankie's beaten it. He's talked very, very highly of it, and from what I have played, I enjoyed it. So I do hope to finish that up at some point. So. And so that's it for your Xbox news. We've got some odds and ends to talk about. First up, Ubisoft opens 2 new AAA studios, one in Bordeaux, France, and the other in Berlin. Both will assist on AAA games for the publisher. Ubisoft Bordeaux, for instance, will work on franchises like Just Dance, Steep, and Ghost Recon Wildlands. The newly found studio in France will report to Xavier Poix, who's managing director of Ubisoft French companies. Bordeaux will become the 5th French studio for the company. Ubisoft Paris was the first internal team and is currently celebrating 25 years in operation. Yeah. Meanwhile, Ubisoft Berlin will assist on an unannounced project with the Blue Byte team, which are known for strategy games like The Settlers and Anno 2205. So two new studios from Ubisoft, boys.
Yeah, 2 new AAA studios as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're not messing around. No. Ubisoft, they continue to push the bar and to raise the standard when it comes to like open world games and AAA development. So they have a lot of these projects going. I'm really, really excited to see what Assassin's Creed is going to look like this year and how they retool that, how the Egyptian setting plays out. Yeah, I think that has the potential to be a really cool game. And also interesting that they're just going along kind of business as usual. They're continuing to expand their brand, and even in the face of like this Vivendi takeover, which could possibly alter their business and their operations, they're kind of still moving full steam ahead. They're still expanding. They're still confident about their vision and where the future of the company lies. So that's good to see.
Yeah, and in the first year of both these studios, Ubisoft plans to bring on 100 additional employees.
Nice.
So there you go. If you're looking to start getting into game development, Ubisoft's going to be hiring here pretty quick.
Man, how many studios do they have now, like all together? They're all over the world.
They've got games coming out every month. I mean,
yeah.
They're churning them out, and most of these are really good games. So that's the plus side.
And these aren't small games either.
No.
These are monster games.
Man, let's get another Splinter Cell here pretty quick. All right, though. I'd like to see another Splinter Cell at some point.
Who typically heads up Splinter? Is that a Montreal studio?
I believe it's Montreal.
Ubisoft Montreal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get another one of those out here pretty quick. The new indie project from Assassin's Creed creator Patrice Désilets, Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey, will no longer be an episodic game. At the Reboot Development 2017 conference, Désilets revealed new information about his upcoming title. This is what he had to say. Exclusive. The episodic nature is gone. He declared by adding, "I'm not sure I was supposed to say that."
Gotta love that.
Yeah. The creative director of Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2 went on to confirm that his new game will still be a third-person action game set between 10 to 2 million years ago, as revealed 2 years ago. Only now I'm letting players tell their own stories. Désilets also let on that the game will follow the course of human evolution from Africa outwards to the world and may include resource management as a gameplay element. So, still very cryptic. We don't know a whole lot about this game, but at least we know it's not going to be episodic. This is going to be a full-on release.
I mean, it sounds like a massive title.
It sounds very ambitious.
So it sounds like something that's probably going to be better served as a full-on experience. Mm-hmm. But man, how about that, dude? Explores the evolution of mankind from 10 million to 2 million years ago. That's pretty heady, man.
This is going to be deep.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be a very deep experience.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by what he's gonna do in that time frame in a third person action setting, and how he's gonna explore this exactly. But this is a guy who started this studio, and I'm assuming, like you said, he's basically an independent developer at this point. I don't know that he has a publisher behind this game. I would assume that he's gonna have to bring one in at some point. You'd think. I don't know what his relationship's like with Ubisoft at this point, but you assume he's got to bring in somebody to publish this game, because it sounds like it's going to be a monster game.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have a hard time with that. I think the publishers are going to be crawling to him. So
yeah, when you start throwing around creative director of Assassin's Creed 2, like that's one of the things you can build a marketing plan behind. Like, yeah, this guy created Assassin's Creed or whatever. Like you can build a whole publishing slate around that.
Yeah, so I don't think he'll have a problem finding that. Now, this next story, this is incredible, okay? Rocket League has now hit 30 million registered players.
Yeah.
This is across PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. 30 million registered players. As of January 11th, that figure stood at 25 million, meaning in the last 3 months, they've added 5 million new players.
That's insane. 5 million new players. Was this game on sale? I don't remember.
Dude, it's cheap. It's $20 to get one of the best esport just competitive games out there. It's a blast. Dude, that's how appealing this game is, dude.
It's been what? How long has this game been out now? Has it been 2 years?
It's got to be 2 years now.
Man, so 2 years on, you're telling me in a 3-month time frame for a 2-year-old game, 5 million people hopped into this game.
Yep.
That's pretty insane.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm sure there's been sales on Steam, and I'm sure probably most of that is on PC. But the developer also said they currently have no plans for a sequel, and why not? I mean, they've been just adding new modes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're adding 5 million people in the last 3 months. You don't need a sequel. This is a platform.
Yeah, just keep juicing the DLC. Like keep getting the $2-3 here and there when you bring out these DLC packs, and people keep buying your game at this type of clip. You're gonna be sitting pretty for a while.
And Psyonix is currently evaluating whether to bring this to the Nintendo Switch. Man, if they can get this game running on the Switch at 60 frames, whether it's in docked or it's in handheld mode, that's going to be insane. Dude, if you can sit there and play Rocket League while you're on the go or at work or at school or wherever there's Wi-Fi, that would be freaking awesome.
They had a pro patch recently come out too.
Oh, do they have another pro patch? Because I know they had one a while back that didn't seem to change too much, other than it was at 4K? Or no, which one was it that was? Oh, I'm thinking of Overwatch. That was kind of the disappointing pro patch.
Oh, did Overwatch get one? I didn't realize
that's how disappointing it was.
Yeah, Rocket League got the 4K 60 frames for the pro patch. So, from what I understand, it looks pretty cool as well.
I still haven't checked that out on the pro. I need to, because that game is freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm. I still haven't even tried it yet, man.
Oh, man. Bender, you've played it. Yeah, Bender, I know you played it. You liked it, right?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought that game is so much fun.
Yeah.
Like I played in the beta too before it came out, and within the first 5 minutes of playing it, I had a huge smile on my face. I was just having so much fun with it. So yeah, that game is awesome.
Yeah, Rocket League is fantastic, and the success is well deserved. And Psyonix, you don't even have to worry about a sequel, man, because just keep kicking out unique modes, and people are going to keep buying this game. It's that good. It's that appealing. It's exciting. It doesn't, like I said, when I played Rocket League a lot, even when we got housed, it was fun. It's a blast to play. It's super exhilarating. The matches aren't very long. They're super intense. It's exciting. Even when you lose, you just want to keep playing. It's that fun. It's an incredibly accessible game, but it has so much depth for esport type of competition. It's awesome.
Yeah, we need to set aside some time so I can finally play this game. I still haven't even fired it up at all.
I already deleted it. I'm done with it. So
Well, the nice thing is
I'll
you can
re-download it.
download it again. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I still got it. I still got it. So, no, I'll definitely play that with you, man. I'd love to see you get in there and play that because it is seriously a blast. It's a hoot to play. It's so good.
Yeah.
And last bit of news, boys. You kind of excited about this. StarCraft is now free. You've got some experience with StarCraft. I've never even played this game. Why should I go play this game, dude?
Well, if you have an interest in real-time strategy games, or you kind of want to see the forefather of the modern RTS game, go play StarCraft. That's a game I played in high school. This is pretty much the only RTS game I've ever gotten into, and it's just a great game, man. It's pretty straightforward and simple to understand. You've got 3 different factions. You've got the Zerg, which are the bug faction, and you can build lots of troops quickly and kind of swarm your enemy in sheer numbers. You have the Terrans, which are the Earth-based class. They're like the soldiers and the tanks and the battleships and that kind of stuff. Then you've got the Protoss, which are like the alien species, and they're really high-tech and really powerful. So you've got these 3 different factions. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and it's easy to wrap your head around that basic concept there. But then the gameplay is extremely deep. There's tons of stuff that goes to it. It's just a really, really fun strategy game. It's a great kind of introduction to that genre if it's something that you're looking to be a part of. So it's free now on PC. Go ahead and download it. It comes with the Brood War expansion. So if you want to kind of see where RTS games like really started to take off and how they became as popular as they are today, like go play StarCraft and relive a piece of history.
Now, this price drop comes alongside a new patch 1.18 that includes a list of features including observer mode, auto-saving replays, and other general improvements and bug fixes. The move to make StarCraft free was announced last month alongside the remaster of the original StarCraft, but Blizzard waited until the patch today to actually offer free downloads. The remaster will feature all of the content from the original game as well as the Brood War expansion and is coming later this year, though Blizzard has yet to announce a specific release date. Boys, you just showed your age, man. StarCraft was originally released back in 1998, and expansion Brood War nearly a year later in 1999.
Yeah, man. It was many moons ago now. I was playing that game.
Many moons. I'll have to check it out, dude. If it's free now, I got a Blizzard website, or I got a Blizzard account. Was it BlizzNet?
Is that what it's called now? I know they changed the name. It used to be BattleNet.
Maybe that's what am I talking? BlizzNet. Let me pull it over. I got it right here. BattleNet. You're right. Yes, I have a BattleNet account, so I'll be able to check that out.
I think it was BattleNet back then too, if I remember.
Wow.
So I remember playing my friends online in StarCraft. We could go on there and play each other. That was really fun. I was never any good at that game, but it was just a fun game to play.
Awesome. We'll have to check it out. And that's going to do it for this week's show. That's the news. Gentlemen, where can we find you gaming and tweeting? Mr. Holt.
Well, I'm on Twitter at Bender_guitar. You can find me on PlayStation Network and Nintendo Network at me_Bender. And you can find me on Xbox Live at mebender82.
Mr. Boyce.
As always, Brent, I will be not tweeting at Piccolo930. Of course, that's my PSN ID as well. You can find me on PSN at Piccolo930. I'm also on the Nintendo Switch there at Piccolo930. Still don't know my friend code, so I apologize for that. One of these days it'll happen.
It's not.
Also, just a reminder, the Indie Spotlight, Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, on our YouTube channel. So search out Short Pause Gaming on YouTube. This week, once again, we'll probably fire up Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment. So you can look forward to me playing that for a little bit. And, I was fortunate enough to be on the Play and Listen podcast this week. So if you get a double dose of me this week, I'm not sure that's a good thing, but you can find me on the Play and Listen podcast talking about Mega Man with JD this week. So go ahead and check out that episode as well. It was a good time.
We'll have a link to that show in the description for this podcast below, whether it's on YouTube or if you're watching it or listening to it on iTunes. It'll be in the description, the link to that podcast. Very good stuff. JD is very fun. He's a very talented kid, and we love working with him. So I can't wait to listen to that show. I'll listen to it on Monday for sure. You can find me on Twitter at TheDude1979, PlayStation Network, TheDude79, Xbox Live, TheRealDude79, and Nintendo Switch, TheDude79. You can also follow Viper Strike and play with him anywhere. It's pretty simple, Viper Strike. Follow Frankie. He's always tweeting. Frankie is always tweeting. I mean, at the oddest hours, too. I'll wake up and see like 3 notifications. Frankie's tweeting at 4 in the morning. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Follow the website on Twitter at The Short Pause. Visit www.shortpause.com. If you like this podcast, if you really like it, go over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating. Write a nice, sexy review for us. If you're not quite ready to give us a 5-star rating, that's cool. We don't want any fake ones. Come over to the website. Go right into the comments below. Sound off. We want to hear from you. That's the only way this show is going to get better. We need to hear from you. Suggestions, feedback, comments, anything. If there's something you got a question, you want us to talk about something, write in. If you want to comment on something that we talked about tonight, write in. We'll read it right off on the air. We need to hear from you. You're the reason we do this show. You can find this podcast on iTunes, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Google Play, and right here on YouTube. For Mr. Holt and Mr. Boyce, I'm Brent Felsing. Thanks again for listening and watching the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. We'll talk to you next week. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.